Welcome everybody to the CrossFire podcast. We are 10 minutes late, but it's all fashionably late, folks. We have got an outstanding show tonight. And there's just been so much discussion today on Twitter and social media that I thought it was my due diligence to bring everybody as we kick off the gaming weekend here on CrossFire with an outstanding and educated panel tonight. Okay, so we have so many people tonight, guys. I'm not going to do my usual intros where we go down the list and we actually say one by one. Otherwise, the intros could take up to like 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just let everybody know who's on the show, and then we're going to go right into it. I know exactly who I'm going to pick first to go to. So as they all wait in anticipation, let me do the intro real quick. We've got Xbot448, who's here. You guys all know him from next podcast. He's a usual suspect. Our newest usual suspect, Nautical Gaming Forte. He's here with us tonight. And our special guests are all in this order. We've got Slow-Mo Backslap, who's back from Scumcast. We've got Brap, Enrique himself from Brap, the show. It's a fantastic show. Pred H2O's with us tonight. Undead, a.k.a. Nick, also of the Iron Lord's realm, is joining us tonight. And I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anybody else. I don't think I did. With that being said, I've also got, this is the one I'm going to first and foremost. Gaming Addict from the Iron Lords is also with us. Last minute says, Mooch, I've got to get in on this. I'm extremely opinionated on what's happening. So, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody, as you kind of shuffle in. Please do hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get Mooch to 9,000 subs. It's been a while. Let's hit that button, guys. This doesn't take a lot of effort. That being said, I'm going to start with Gaming Addict. Addict, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I know you got a lot on this subject. Death Stranding reviews are in, okay? And I don't know. Me and you didn't discuss it before. I have an idea where you're going to go with this. Where are you on what you thought before the reviews came out and where we are today with the reviews out as we know them?
Well, before the what's the word I'm looking for? The divine creator of all things, Kojima, was about to release his game. You know, the way some of these people be thought, man, you thought this was going to get a 90 plus. There was no way. 84 is still good. That's not the case. We ain't talking about whether or not an 84 is good. I think no one is debating that. I think the issue people have is for the hype and the anticipation for Death Stranding made by Lord Kojima is an 84 good for him. That's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, you don't think that myself? Listen, I bought into the hype. I thought this thing was 90 plus.
Oh, we definitely knew you. I know.
I bought in.
You bought into this?
Listen, let me tell you something, Forte.
You went to the vending
machine.
You went to the vending machine.
Nice
You went to the vending machine. You was putting in dollar quarters. You weren't even putting in quarters.
Listen, when you go to the horse track race, okay, and all of a sudden the guy behind you tells you it's a sloppy out there, and he goes, "This horse is good in the mud." You're like, "Wait, the horse is a mudder?" He's like, "Of course he's good in the mud. He's a mudder's horse. This is great. You got to bet on that horse." I've been told by people who had the game, this game was fantastic. It's insane. It's something you've never experienced before. Why wouldn't you bet on it?
I had to check those guys.
The hours of gameplay that came out before.
That's what I want to know. Like people that were hyped for this game, were we not paying attention what was releasing on this game?
No, because we were always told from so many people that Kojima was just trolling us. It's going to be
that's right,
like
Slow-Mo.
He's not showing all of the great stuff that's going to happen. Nope, he showed
y'all the whole game.
I thought he was trolling us. I thought he was trolling us based on what Kojima's done in the past.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't think there's one person that's saying an 84 is not a good game. But I do think there's a lot of people that are a little bit wondering where all this, before this, and that's not even really anyone on here, but there's a lot of people in this community that expected this game. This is not even a PlayStation versus Xbox thing. This is Kojima is not this hype thing. Like, I'm sorry, I will stand to my roots when I say that I feel like Konami was King Kojima, like reality realm. Like every time they went into that meeting and they were like, "Okay, Kojima, what do you have?" And he explained the game. He's like, "What, Kojima? We can't do that. Like, what do you say?"
Well, let me put this out there, and I really want to hear what you guys have to say here. Okay, here's the reason that I kind of went for it, hook, line, and sinker, and I'll tell you why I'm still a little bit intrigued by this. So Outer Worlds comes out a week ago, and I said to everybody, because I didn't get to run to it right away, I didn't get a chance to jump right on it. I said, "What's it like?" And they go, "Mooch, you got to experience this. It's fantastic." I go, "What's it like?" They said, "Well, it's Mass Effect. You know, it's Fallout and it's got a splash of Borderlands. And I'm like, man, I didn't like Mass Effect. I'm like, myself personally, Borderlands I love, but I'm halfway, more than halfway through 3. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so I'm going to jump into something that's another interpretation from another developer that's something very similar to what we've all been playing. And I understand that. I'm not taking away any of that from anyone that they like. I'm not. But the one thing that has me still intrigued is I'm ready at this point in time in my life where I don't mind trying something like this Kojima game, where I did watch Fran Mirabelli, I think is his name. He's on Greg Miller's show, but Fran's actually a pretty good guy. He came over from IGN, left, went independent. And, you know, he says, listen, this is the way the game is. And no spoilers. A lot of it is a bit of ridiculousness in the beginning of bringing the postage and bringing the deliveries from point A to point B. And I get that. I refuse. I will not sit here and talk any of you guys into the game. I won't. But you do have to understand that personally, I think that it's something different, and it might actually open your eyes to a whole new genre, whereas everyone else is so excited to get back into
we going with this new genre, Mitch? Is that
Come
what
on!
we do? Is that what we do?
It's
We already
different! It's
Yo,
not
this
the
is not
same.
a new genre.
No,
this is not a
Wait,
new genre.
what did he call this? He saw this the Death Strand, the Strange
genre.
Yeah.
Look, man, the
That's
only
a bit of a
thing
stretch. But
the only question I have when I'm talking about buying and playing Death Stranding is what's the best drugs that I could be hooked on playing this? Like, that's literally the only question.
Addict, whatever you need, I got you, man. Just
So two things real quick. Two things. I think a lot of people are kind of disappointed with the score, even though 80 a mid 80 is not a bad score. I think people
It's a great score.
I think people were expecting something higher, and like people coming out saying, "Oh, it's game like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago." People are, I can't wait to do this review, game of the year, and now it doesn't look like it's going to be that way.
But
Second part of it,
I do want to point out that
hold on, let me finish this real quick. Second point, I've said this before. When have you seen a person like Kojima, the guy that did Ninja Gaiden, like they leave a studio and they go, even the guy that did Gears that left, I can't remember his name right now. They
Cliffy
go
B.
out and who?
Cliffy B, right? You get these big name known people. They get typecast, right? They leave and they go and do something else, and that something else doesn't work that well.
okay.
It's happened
but
plenty of times. I'm not saying Death Stranding 2 is gonna be a thing, whatever. But like he left and he created something else that he wanted to create, and it just doesn't take.
First thing I want to say is, people, we need to remember this is only a day into the reviews. It could easily go up or down. I want to first point that
2 points maybe.
Gears 5 was
the
at
most.
85 for like 3 weeks and it went down 1. So, we definitely want to point that out. Second, we might need to start realizing that, these big people definitely have I think, one of the very exceptions that I do know that, the head lead of that studio impacted the game dramatically was, Corey with God of War. But I think that we need to start putting more eyes on the people who own these companies more often, because it seems like they're the ones that really get where the ship's supposed to go. Corey said in that, Raising Kratos that, imagine came and played the first beta. He's like, he didn't even say nothing to him. He just left. So Corey realized, okay, they didn't talk to me. I didn't do something that, they didn't like. So he went back to the drawing. I think that's when he put the kid in it. So, it's stuff like that I think really gets a ship where it's supposed to be going, is that interaction between the parent company and the developer.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let me get this, Enrique. Will you chime in on this? Because listen, first of all, am I the only one that's going to be playing Death Stranding next Friday?
No. I'm still planning on playing it because it's Kojima's newest game, and there's some interesting aspects of the game from what I read for some of the reviews. Some of that kind of outside the thinking, that creativity, the compelling characters that's there. It seems like the issue a lot of people had was the grind. I think a lot of people didn't feel that the game rewards you from going from point A to point B. The gameplay mechanics don't really hold the game together, but everything else, the world, how beautiful the world is.
Gameplay mechanics are the glue. Like, that's like, if your gameplay mechanics are not good and you're out there in a kind of like barren world, just walking back and forth 95% of the time, that's not going to be fun. And even some people who did reviews, and you guys all know me, I am the hashtag meta who guy. I really don't care about reviews. in terms of a score and stuff like that. But the interesting thing to me was what people were saying. There was a site out there who gave the game a perfect score, but said it wasn't fun. It's not a fun game, but it's artistic. And I'm like, but it's a game.
And
there's something to be said about.
Those are the people that's on the drugs that I mentioned earlier.
But there's something to be said about video games. I don't think video games are just fun per se. I think video games are an art form like movies and music. I think video games can evoke feelings, happiness, sadness, joy, dread, even boredom. So I think it's more than just fun.
That's all fun. No, we can't sit here and go.
You don't go to a horror movie if you don't like being scared. If you're not fun,
But what I'm saying is, but there's fun and there's a difference between.
But
fun
I don't understand how you give something a perfect score if it's not fun. That makes no sense. That's like me going and watching the worst movie in the world and say, you know what? It's not that bad. It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy watching it at all. 10 out of 10. I don't get that.
I'm loving Addict's enthusiasm. Who's yelling? That's fantastic, Addict.
No, that's not the case though, because it's more than just fun. Like movies. I mean, movies. Like if you watch Schindler's List, is Schindler's List a fun movie?
Great example.
No, it's not.
Outstanding example.
It's not a fun movie, but
you're sitting down to watch a movie, though. That's a difference.
But the point is, it's entertaining.
So hold on. Let me first tell me what you're arguing with, because I need to make sure we're on the same road. So if I start to try to drift you off the road, at least I know we're on the same road. I don't want to argue two different points.
No, what I'm saying is that, I think their perspective, I know what review you're talking about, because I thought the same thing. I was like, wait a minute, fun. And then as you read the review, you see other things where that feeling that they felt like there was something else there that they felt that was good.
Yeah, but is that a 10 out of 10 though? I can see someone saying, you know what, the game's not fun. The game's not fun. But I felt something. It's a game that after I was done, I sat back. I had a little glass of wine. I sat out on my porch and I had to think about it for a little while. If it does that to you, okay, I see an 85 and 90.
Was Goodfellas fun?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I am completely fine with games allowing people to really think about what they just experienced. The difference between movies and games, though, is that you have no actual agenda in the movie. Like, you can't do anything in it. It's going to happen whether you're watching it or not. Versus a game where you're actually with a controller controlling things. And so when it's boring, and everyone who's played the game has said the first quarter of it is boring as hell, and the boss battles are uber doo-doo. So if that's the case, and you're playing the game, we can't do these apple to oranges comparisons from movies to games. If I ever did a
review, and anywhere in that review, I said it wasn't fun, but I gave it a 10 out of 10. No, I got the bag. I just want you to know right now I got the bag. If I said it anywhere in a review that it was not fun, but I gave it a perfect score.
You guys got to remember something. Reviews exist on a spectrum. I mean, all these experiences, all these things like gameplay mechanics, load times, whatever the case, all this stuff exists on this big spectrum. And I think Nick would probably agree with me on this because he's done a few game reviews. So, I mean, there may be certain aspects of a game we don't like, but then there may be other aspects of the game that kind of cancel out that one thing that's lacking in the game. And maybe that's what.
Yeah, but you can't sit here and write a negatively toned review and then give it a 10.
Yeah, no. See,
go ahead, Nick.
That was only one aspect of the review they said.
But that's all he had to say.
That's a lot.
Hold on, guys. I want to hear what Nick's got to say. Then I got to hit the super chats. Go ahead, Nick.
I'll counter this. Is the fact of basically from my standpoint, I stopped taking a reviewer seriously when they give a game a 10 out of 10 because I've never played a game where I couldn't find something that detracted at least 1 point off of it.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
I gave God of War a 9.3. I gave Spider-Man an 8.7. They were all great games, but they all had something that I personally found that detracted a little bit from the experience. I have a hard time giving games a perfect 10. I think the perfect 10s get thrown around way too often.
Absolutely.
Look, you should only have 10s every now and then.
Yeah.
You shouldn't look at a Metacritic page and the first 3 pages is 10s.
Like,
guys,
and that's my problem is like, I don't like this whole aspect of there's a perfect game out there. It's just something to me that doesn't exist. Like there's like anyone who knows me knows I will endlessly talk about Baldur's Gate endlessly, but that game has issues with it that I wouldn't even give that game a 10 out of 10. That's my favorite game of all time.
Right.
And I know you guys are talking about the Push Square review because the guy's quote was, "This game isn't fun, but it's important." And I get where they're coming from with that, but you can't sit there and say the first quarter of the game is a slog. There's mechanics that trip over each other, and they go into detail of all these little things within the game that they don't like. But then they're like, "But in the end, this game's important, so it's a 10 out of 10." To me, that's just not a great review.
Okay, now, Nick,
Hey,
let me
Mooch,
take care of the
super
super
chat.
chat really quick, and then I do want to ask you guys on the same subject. I'm going to start back. I'll go back in reverse order here with Nick and Forte. Shout out, first of all, to Doggy Dog. Thank you so much. He says, Mooch Maniacs, it's getting wild tonight. I appreciate that. Elemental P.O., I'm going to get both of yours. Sir X-Man says, this game sounds a lot like Zelda without the packages. Very, not bad. Ray G4 says, Can we say we never used the word stranding until this game was announced? That's true. And then Elemental PO comes back and says, will Sony continue to do this? Now that management has changed, does this mean that Sony will be cutting down and investing in niche games? Lots of shifting at Sony, I believe he says. Not the same Sony anymore. Now, Elemental PO, myself personally, I don't think that's the thing. I think they gave the keys to the car to Kojima here.
I think Kojima had so much clout they couldn't tell him no.
Right.
Well, see, and that is my second point, because again, I'm taking reviews with a grain of salt. I haven't played the game. I haven't had any of my friends who are, like gamers. They're like me in terms of games, but
right.
And they play their PS4 more. They haven't said anything. They haven't gotten their hands on the game. But I remember when Kojima left Konami, and everybody's like, "Oh, thank God," and all that stuff. If all this stuff turns out to be true, right? Wouldn't it be more of Kojima needed to have people to reel him in a little bit more, and maybe that freedom will show more of his weaknesses in game development, in story details and stuff like that moving out. Maybe he needs people to reel him in and get him back on track.
That's what I think. I think we're missing the point here, guys. If we want to have this conversation strictly as a hashtag fun conversation, I can see where a lot of these arguments are going. I've been following Kojima for the past 3 years on Twitter, and he has found an art and he's found a passion in the movie making world. And that's what I think he's been trying to do here with this game. He's not trying to be Mass Effect. He's not trying to be Borderlands. He's trying to be Kojima. And I understand. That's why I said there's not going to be a sales pitch on this show. This is not about you need to go play Death Stranding. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's a lot of those film festivals that go on all year long where they're like silent movies and everyone's just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I'm sitting there like, what kind of crap was that? Right? But that's a me problem. So my point being is this isn't necessarily a, wow, is this hashtag fun? This is a Kojima joint. And, I'm going to go to Forte. Forte, I really want to hear your opinion on this. And I'm going to change subject here. Not change from Death Stranding, but is an 84 Metacritic score for a new IP considered higher or lower than somebody getting that same Metacritic score for a known franchise? Does that hold water?
No, I agree 100%. And I think the one thing that I want to really touch on is the fact that it is a new IP, 84 overall, not knowing exactly what you're going to get from the game is a really good score. It's a really good score on its own.
I think so as well for a new
It's
IP.
a good score. But people have agendas out here. The fact that
I don't even think this is an attack on Kojima's fans. I think it's an attack on the movement that was going on in general.
And that's what I say the agenda is. I feel like you got a camp of people out here that just knew that this game was going to be something special, and they felt like it was going to be something special, even knowing over the 3 hours of video and gameplay that we've seen continuously over this game over the last couple of months hasn't even shown you exactly what the game was supposed to be. they were just excited just to be excited. And then now you got people out here that are just happy that the game didn't, do as good as they thought it was going to do, even though, like you said, 84 is really good. It is a new IP.
AKA
Well, let me ask everybody this, and it's rhetorical.
Can I just say something to Forte real quick?
Go ahead, Xbox.
Brother, you know what I love that's going on right now? All right, everybody's taking these scores and kind of like the Sony faithful are defended it, the Xbox are making fun of it and all this good stuff. All the while, I am sitting back here with my hashtag MetaWho, and everybody out there is solidifying and vindicating my hashtag that when it comes down to it, Metacritic isn't as important as what a lot of people out there try to say. Because at the end of the day, if it's on your preferred platform, then people are going to cheer for it if it's a really high score. If it's a higher level score, but not in the 90s, they will defend whatever criticisms there are about it. At the end of the day, Metacritic is pretty much irrelevant now. It is.
I kind of feel I have to agree with Xbot, and I want to ask you guys this question. For those of you that have kids, right? If they bring home a math test and one gets an 84 and another child comes home and gets an 86, are you really reprimanding the 84? Not really.
No.
Not really.
I am.
Like, if we were
I'm
sitting,
beating the shit out that motherfucker.
Right.
I'm gonna show it to my youngest daughter and be like, "What did you do wrong?"
But I mean,
so they
real,
can have
but a week
so they
ago,
can have a nice competition with each other.
a week ago, we were praising, and you had the same folks in the media praising Outer Worlds, and it's sitting at an 86. Now, listen, this is not an Outer Worlds versus Death Stranding. The reason I bring the two up is just a numerical back and forth here. You really can't sit here. Everyone's like, wow, that's just dog shit over there. That 84 is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not worth your time. But I can't wait to get home and play this 86. So my point being is Metacritic really, I think Metacritic, by the time we get to the middle of next generation, nobody's going to give a shit.
I don't think it's got anything to do with Metacritic. I think, just like you just made, that's a good point. You said the difference between Outer Worlds and what's going on with Death Stranding. The difference is Outer Worlds, that game didn't have any expectations tied to it. Like, people weren't like, it's a new IP, just like Death Stranding is a new IP. Obsidian has been really good at making games overall, and people know that. They know how to make and craft a really good single player role playing game.
Right.
But even with that being said, they still didn't have expectations like people were having for something like Death Stranding. Like,
I somewhat disagree with that. I think there was expectations for Obsidian, especially considering they are an Xbox.
No, I'm talking about expectations
studio.
compared to what it is for Death Stranding.
Well, I mean, there's nothing compared. Almost with The Last of Us 2. I mean, when you are at a level of Kojima, where people are talking
that's
about
my issue with
like
people. When you are at a
you're
level with Kojima,
But see, that's my point. People talk about him like he's a deity or something. Like he can't do anything wrong.
And you know why?
Ridiculous.
Let me
like take the scores away. Take the scores away. You look at these reviews, you look at people talking about the game, and it's highlighting to me a lot of the issues that I've had with Kojima's games in the past. Really flaky narratives, really not something that really resonated with me. You got people who finish the game and they're still like, I really don't know what it was about. Like,
but that's
what?
the thing,
like,
though. But that's the thing. People
I don't want to hear that's the thing. That's a bad thing.
That's not the thing.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
People only say that for Kojima. People only say, well, that's the thing. It's okay that you don't understand.
Tarantino a video game.
Let that
that's
be
my problem.
No. Wait. Let that be Night School Studios who just came out with After Party, and you don't understand what the game was.
This is the only time. This is the only time I've ever seen that we've argued about a standpoint that someone said, you know what, it's just not fun, but that's okay, and gave it a 10 out of 10. This is the only argument we'll ever have if that is acceptable or not.
Let me ask you guys. Let me pose another question, and then Pred, you got the mic after that. My question is this: I actually think that because this is a new IP, this should actually get a little bit more slack. And let me explain why. I was actually shaking my head in disagreement, and I felt a lot like Addict in Slow-Mo when I saw Metal Gear, the last Metal Gear Solid 5, or was it 5? I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah,
Metal Gear,
5.
that one got a 10 out of 10. That's the one where I said, that's the one you have to judge harsh. That's one when you have another one in a series where he's got so much experience, he should know what he's doing by then. That was right when you got, after the cutscenes at the beginning of that game, everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Now, let me answer Addict on another point. Addict said, what kind of game is this? And I think Slow-Mo may have said it too. What kind of game is this at the end where you're like, what's going on? I happen to, it's in my top 5, okay? Because I haven't made like the list and I haven't chiseled it into a tablet yet, okay? But one of my top games of all time is BioShock Infinite. And do you know how many conversations I had with people that they said, I don't really know what the ending meant? You know? And I'm like, well,
I knew exactly what that
I did too, but I'm just trying to say, because people don't necessarily can't wrap their minds around what the artist is.
But those are also people that didn't beat all the BioShock
but
games.
Here's the thing, Mooch. Like, you'll have the occasional review that says that. Right. But there's a lot of reviews that people still have no idea what's going on.
Agreed.
And I think that's one of the concepts is, as much as I hate to use this term because I don't like it, we got a lot of fake deep stuff going on here. People thinking the narrative is way bigger than it should be, way more convoluted than it should be. Mm-hmm. Look, Death Stranding is an okay game considering it's an 84. It's an amazing score for a new IP. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to sit here and act like that people weren't acting like this is the next great thing. I literally had, from almost every time Kojima's name, I'm calling him Lord Kojima. Lord Kojima's name was brought up on my Twitter feed. I don't know how many times I saw people say, oh, there's no way this isn't going to be a below 90. There's no way. This is game of the generation. He's going to prove all of you guys wrong. Like, that is what's being attacked.
You're right. And one of the other things,
it's the hype and the anticipation is being attacked, not the game itself.
Yeah, and you just made a good point. Like, one of the things a lot of people tend to forget, like, we've had this game thrown in our face for like almost like 3 years now. We've had Kojima paraded on stage at the Game Awards show, at E3, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody had their expectation for this game really, really high.
They had me believing this is going to be a 9 or plus game.
Yeah, and you see all the hype for it and all the people talking about Kojima this, Kojima that. You got a lot of Kojima fans jumping in. Yeah. And then the game, it gets released in like 6 days or whatever. And, you start seeing the scores of it and it's subpar. And by their standard, because we've given this guy so much clout.
Correct.
And we haven't played the game yet. And I think it's because they pumped it up so much. They pumped him up so much, like I said.
Well, that even happened. Yeah, and that even happened in our own community. Like, even on Rap, when we were on Rap on the day before yesterday, we gave scores like what we thought it was going to come in at. And Enrique, you gave what, a 91? You thought it was going to come in? Why did you give it a 91? I know
no, that was me.
2 points probably because it was Kojima. Be real. Everybody gave him.
I gave it a 2-point bump.
Kojima.
Right.
People are giving it a 90 and stuff, not even from what we're seeing, because of a dev, because of a developer.
Man, yeah, but Addict, that happens in almost everything. Tell
me another time where a game is exclusively getting 9s and stuff because of Kojima, or like a dev in certain. Like,
well, I was gonna say it happens, but it happens in sports. The minute a team gets a new coach, they're like, oh, well, there you go. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Phil Jackson came to the Knicks? That's gonna get him right into the playoffs. Like it didn't happen, right? Well, that's okay. Look at Marty Scorsese. Marty Scorsese, he's made a couple of real flops, but when that initially was going through, they're like, oh, they got Marty Scorsese on that. It can't be nothing but a Pulitzer, right? I mean, this happens all the time,
but not in the gaming industry.
Check this out. Yes, it does.
Sure it does.
Tell me. No, I'm talking about besides Kojima. Tell me another time that a game was this hyped over a developer.
If Neil Druckmann left Naughty Dog, okay, and he went and made, I don't care, he made Soda Drinker Pro 2. That thing, people are like 9.5 easily, right?
Control.
Game of the year.
Control.
Control. Good example.
I think you guys are loony right now.
Real quick.
Go ahead, X-Bot.
I just want to say this to the people out there who are arguing over these review scores and stuff like that. I said this at the beginning. I'm going to say it again, and then I'm going to let these guys go at it as much as they want. Yeah, there is more than enough gameplay. There is way over an hour of gameplay that has been released from this game. If you go and you check out that gameplay and you think to yourself, man, I wish I had a controller in my hand and I wish I was controlling this character right now, then this is a game for you.
That's a good point.
You know what, X-Bot?
What?
I think you're onto something. And you know what else? Xbox? we got to shout out the real VIP in this community right now. The real MVP.
I got a feeling
GameSpot.
I got a feeling Mooch was not going to come out of his mouth.
That's IGN. That's IGN. IGN was the realest media outlet out there.
Did you say IGN?
IGN gave that thing a 6. It was like a 6.8 out of 10. And what's funny is IGN Japan gave it a 9 out of 10.
IGN everywhere else in the world gave it a 9.8, 9.5, 9.7.
That's because the American branch of the IGN wasn't on that Kojima juice, man. and it could have been, those drugs weren't good enough in America, and they were good enough everywhere else.
Listen, I got news for you. He's been the most silent, but I'm going to go ahead and get him on right now. So, shout out real quick to Sir X-Man who says, please bring back X Play somebody, please. Shout out to Sir X-Man. Sir X-Man, thank you so much for the super chat. Nick, I got to go to you because I'll be honest with you. Yes, Gaming Addict does it. I do it. Xbot, all of us on here. Brap does it. But, Nick, I really do put a lot of emphasis on your reviews. I think you do a great job. You're very thorough. And I know that you're going to get a chance to review this game very soon, so I'm not talking about your prediction for yourself, but just from what you've seen and what you're about to sit down and enjoy in the upcoming 12 to 24 hours, what do you think personally? I mean, do you see the same when you sit down? Are you excited, or are you kind of a little bit taken back right now to have to play this game?
Well, I'll preface this. I'm a huge, but I'm also that they were progressively getting more convoluted as they went, and I'm one of those people that thinks that Metal Gear Solid 5 being rated, I think it's a 93 or a 94 on Metacritic, is absolutely insulting, and the only reason that game got as good a score as it did is because nobody that reviewed it played the full 100 hours of that game. They played 30 hours of it and went, this is great, sent the review out, and away it went. No one played the full 100 hours of that game because that game was grindy. It was mechanically sound, the story was convoluted, and it was super grindy. And from the sounds of things, that's repeating itself again. It's got unique mechanics. It sounds like I'm legitimately interested in the game, but I think part of the reason why people were expecting this game to do so well is I think there's one Kojima game that's been rated under a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think that was Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, and the reason people were mad about that is because it was only an hour long.
Oh, yeah, that was almost a demo.
Yeah. So Metal Gear Solid 5 was a 93, Metal Gear Solid Patriots was like a 91. Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the highest rated games of all time.
Nick, let me just do this. I'm just going to introduce, pardon me, just kind of completely just take you, sidewind you, and give you Fail Pyromancer, because I think this really comes into what you're saying here. He says you can't judge the game unless you play it. Nick, when you do a review and you're in the middle of a review and somebody says, this game sucks, any game, do you feel like the old expression, don't knock it till you try it, comes into play, or not necessarily? You don't have to feel that way. Sometimes you just can tell the book by its cover.
You can with some games. Some games are just so obviously blatantly bad that you wouldn't touch them. I can think of a couple of the games, the ones that end up getting a 4 out of 10, and people are like, this is a disaster, this is terrible. Yeah. As a general 98% consensus, everyone hates it. There's going to be games that are divisive, and I am one of those people that truly believes that sometimes you need to try a game to truly understand why people enjoy it. And I say that because I've been in the Xbox ecosystem for over a decade, and I didn't play Gears of War up until about 2 years ago. And I had no interest in the series.
Yeah.
It just did nothing for me. And my friend's like, you got to play it to understand. I'm like, no, you don't. It's a generic third-person shooter. And you know what? I played the first one. I played Gears Ultimate Edition, and I loved it.
So Nick,
absolutely loved it front to back.
Can we? But there are exceptions, and here's an example. You probably go, well, Mooch, what's the example? Shout out to Kevin Life. He says Battletoads show the same energy. So he's saying basically where a lot of people have been giving Battletoads because we saw where Battletoads was where right. Thank you Xbox for that signature announcement. But I mean, I got to be honest with you, I don't think in this case you always have to try it before you knock it because sometimes you know.
Yeah, sometimes
dare knock Battletoads.
Sometimes you look at sometimes you'll look at a game and you'll go, you know what? Game isn't for me. If people like it and people love it, that's cool. But this game isn't my style. For example, platformers, There are exceptions to the rule. I like Cuphead. The OG Battletoads was great.
Yeah.
Conker's Bad Fur Day. But I'm really, really picky with platformers. So 9 times out of 10, if I see a game's a platformer, I'm like, I'm good on that. I'm not a platformer kind of guy. So, and like, if people are looking at Death Stranding and they're like, well, it looks kind of like a stealth game kind of thing, and da-da-da-da-da, and that's not really my shtick, I can respect that. If it doesn't look like it's your vibe, then don't force yourself to go out, spend your 60 hard-earned dollars to try to fit in with everybody else. Like, definitely, like, there's enough, as Xbox said, there's enough footage of this game. There's over, I think, 3.5 hours of footage of this game. If you go looking for it, you can watch good chunks of this game.
Is there something to be said, though, for someone like myself? And I think there's a lot of you gamers out there. So everyone in the chat, you guys on the panel, and guys that are listening later on to the show. I mean, I'm just somebody that right now, like, I don't want to ask, hey, Nick, you've reviewed such and such game. And he goes, yeah, Mooch, what's your question? What's it like? Oh, well, Mooch, you know what it's like? It's a little bit of Mass Effect. You know what? It's a little bit of BioShock. It's a little bit of this. It's a little bit. What intrigues me about sitting down next Thursday at 9 p.m. when I get to start the game and playing it all the way through is it's a game I've not experienced. There's nothing where you go, it's like fill in the blank. Isn't there something to
Mooch,
that?
Which, with what I said, Mooch, I know you've seen a bunch of the gameplay. Did you think to yourself while you're watching this gameplay, did you think, damn, I wish I had the controller in my hands? I wish I was experiencing myself.
Truly, and that was a great example, Xbot.
You need to pick up this game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, and to throw that back to what you're getting at, is there are some games where you immediately see that there's nothing else that's doing this right now. And that was me with Doom 2016 when they revealed that. Because everyone was kind of past the FPS phase, and there was a couple like Call of Duty, Destiny, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But Doom was really all about just the pure kinetic first-person experience. Yeah. And I was like, man, I haven't played a game like that in forever. I need this yesterday. Yeah, and like if Death Stranding is that for people, people should enjoy it.
Just so everybody knows that I have another example, and Nick, and guys in the panel, please do chime in. My other example where I totally bashed it, like a lot of people are bashing Death Stranding right now. I bashed No Man's Sky. And when No Man's Sky Next came out...
Well, that turned out well for you, didn't it?
It didn't. Well, listen, it didn't do very well in the beginning, so I was kind of right. No, but I'll be honest with you, Sean Murray turned the ship around, Addict. And, the next, which was, the next iteration...
He did, but at the end of the day...
That's a great game.
It's cool that he corrected the ship like that.
Yes.
But, in terms of, people buying stuff, most of the time you don't get a second chance.
That's true.
When it comes to, I think Kojima did fine his first game without, Konami. But if anything, I feel like it's going to humble him a little bit, because I do think that Kojima himself, because I think that's the one thing we're not thinking about. What is Kojima feeling about these scores? Because I honestly think he feels like he thought he was going to get a perfect score.
It sounds like Addict wants Kojima crying in the corner over his 84.
I think he's going to have issues with the 84. I really.
What are you talking about? He spent his day retweeting people criticizing the N8.
That dude has too much of an ego for that. No.
Attic is a very big Kojima fan.
Yeah, can you tell?
Yeah, Kojima's fine. He's probably just like, whatever, I got paid. It's an 84.
But guys, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the Metacritic game he's ever put out.
If anybody clipped that last minute right there, you would have thought that this game got a 62. It's an 84. It's not a bad game.
It goes back to people hyping up the game so much, putting all their faith in a number before they purchase a game and stuff like that. There's a lot of people, because like it was already said, because it was Kojima, you're guaranteed a 90 game on the Metacritic, and it's not happening that way. But at the end of the day, there's enough out there for a level-headed, common-sense gamer. There is enough information, there's enough gameplay out there that you can go in and look at it and decide for yourself if you want the game or not.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. And guys, I'm going to switch subjects slightly because there's a lot to talk about today. There's an absolute ton of news that came out in the past few days, let alone the past 12 hours. Guys, what about Outer Worlds? I really didn't get a chance to dive into this, and I know that there's at least 2 or 3 guys in the panel right now that really dove in head first and played the hell out of this game. What do you guys think about, and whoever wants to chime in first, please do, Outer Worlds? What is it that separates Outer Worlds from Fallout and the other games that it's all being recognized as so similar to? I have only played about 2 hours of it. So I kind of abstain and take myself out of this conversation. I can give my opinion on 2 hours, but whoever's got like 20 plus hours, what's making Outer Worlds that appealing to gamers these days?
I would say it is when it comes to comparing it to Fallout, I would say better storytelling and tighter storytelling. I would say that the quest that you have, the things that you need to do in the game, all ties into the overall narrative. Whereas, and you will see this a lot with Bethesda games. Like you get a lot, it's like a huge sandbox with a lot of side quests, and not all of them are really all that important to the overall quest. If you take like Fallout 4,
got a bunch of fluff on Fallout, that's for sure.
Right, and there's some people who love that fluff. They love getting deep into these like really interesting side quests that have nothing to do with the main narrative, and you're wondering why this main character doesn't give a crap about the child he's trying to find, but like in the Outer Worlds, everything kind of ties into the overall main quest and the characters that you have, which I know some people were in the chat were saying, well, how is this like Mass Effect? Well, I mean, like it's like Mass Effect in the sense that you have characters that you can, in the middle of like you doing a mission or a quest, you can just stop and talk to them, have conversations. When you get back to your ship, you should be talking to all of your characters. When you leave your ship, just like Mass Effect, you choose which companions are coming with you. It has some of those elements to it, but it's not.
Here's let me ask you a question. My biggest minus for me, and this is a me problem, I get that. My biggest minus with Mass Effect games was too much dialogue, too much emphasis on wasted dialogue. And
there's still a lot of dialogue in this.
I'm 2 hours into Outer Worlds, and it took me almost 5 minutes to get a quest out of a guy. I almost started shaking my computer screen. I'm like, just give me the quest!
Yes,
give me the quest!
You're probably not going to like this one.
But at the end of the day, Mooch, I do think there is a such thing as that's a you problem. People love this type of shit. So, like, the
reason I play video games is I don't like reading novels. I don't want to read.
They go play Call of Duty and shoot people.
I mean, you don't have to read. It's all voice acting. Everything is this voice acting for every single person that you speak to.
It's a little drawn out, isn't it, Slow-Mo? I mean,
it is. I'll agree. A lot of these, when it comes to these, these giant dialogue games, a lot of them is drawn out. But I feel like that's intentional. Like,
absolutely.
By the end of that conversation, they want you to resonate with the voice on who you're talking to. That's the intentions from the start. I think that the Outer Worlds can improve on that. Definitely, it definitely. I think Fallout does that a little bit better, in my opinion.
Thank you. That was my next segment. Actually, there's something about everyone's been downing. There's things that are cool. You guys know this. It's all part of that narrative. There's things that are cool on the internet, right? Whether you're the media or you're a big YouTube outlet, it's cool to hate Bethesda. But I'm gonna tell you guys, just from the very early workings, I like things like the Pip-Boy. All right, I like the cartoony character that Fallout has. I like the Titan, that ridiculous mask you get into. What is that? What is the Titan called that you that big outfit you get into in Fallout 4?
Power suit. Power armor.
The power suit, right?
Armor, yeah.
Power armor. I like that about that game, and I like that there's less of that dialogue. Myself personally, and again, completely, guys, completely.
But there's a
from
lot
the
more
outside
fluff
in.
in Fallout.
There is, but you can skip that fluffing. You know that, addict. You don't have to play that.
No, you don't. I want to chime in something about regards to Fallout and kind of the differences that I see between Outer Worlds and Fallout. One, Outer Worlds works. Okay,
that's a good point.
Are bugs.
That's a good point.
No, it's not behind $100 paywall.
That's Fallout 70, so you can't really compare the two. They're not.
I know.
I would say Fallout 4.
I'm just giving Bethesda a rubbing here because I'm not happy with them. But I will say this: the game works. Like, there's no bugs, right, from previous games that somehow made their way to the latest iteration of the game. And I actually find I get what you're saying. I kind of agree with the dialogue piece. There's a lot of it going on, but I will say this: I did find the dialogue at least so far in Outer Worlds to be a little more interesting.
Okay.
I also found the choices that you make to be much more impactful and very interesting. We talked about this on Brap and Slow-Mo. You remember we were talking about the first mission.
Yeah.
That first mission, kind of like, wow, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I did this, but now I can do this.
Yeah, what's funny is you'll start to, try to do something small in a world on the Outer Worlds. Before you know it, you're starting a civil war.
That's the thing. Like, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I did this, and now these people are mad at me, but then I kind of made it right. And I think that is the strength in terms of Outer Worlds, the writing and the thought that they put into the decisions that impact the game and the characters. And that's the one thing that I love about it.
Hold on, Mooch, real quick to piggyback off of what Enrique just said.
Yeah,
you said you're about 2 hours in, so you haven't completed that first mission that Enrique is talking about.
I have.
When you complete that mission, I can almost guarantee that there are going to be small little differences in the decisions that you made and the outcome that comes out of what happens to Edgewater than my playthrough, than Enrique's playthrough, or Addict's playthrough.
Okay.
Because these characters, they're so gray. There's just not. There's no dastardly villain that's just completely like that guy's just super evil
that's pretty cool. I gotta give you
they all have that gray area where it's like, oh, I see your point. I see why you made these bad decisions. I see why you treat these people a certain way. Oh, you are a nice person, but whoa, you kind of got a dark side to you. I don't know if I should trust you. It's like all the characters are like that. So it's like, even though, it's a lot of dialogue, you can actually kind of really get invested in the decisions that you have to make.
Slow-Mo, real quick. It sounds like we all, like, I know, like, just talking about this on Brap on Wednesday, I think we all had different experiences. Like, I remember B Money saying, like, hey, I can't go back to Edgewater because it's full on Civil War because of what I did.
Right.
I go to Edgewater, be fine.
So wait,
but
Enrique, let me just add to that. So wait, let me ask you a question because I haven't gotten that far. So you're saying if I make those improper decisions, or I make a decision to sabotage or backstab somebody, and that's in Edgewater, let's just say, when going back will be hostile.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that happens. I mean, I think what's going on here in the Outer Worlds, it's a shorter game. That's facts.
What's the time on it, Addict? Roughly.
I beat it in about 17, 18 hours. And, I did a lot in that game.
I want you to go back and play it again.
So I'm actually going to go play it as a melee character. That's how I knew it was good, because I'm sitting there playing the game, and I was like, man, I wish I would have invested more in the melee abilities. But, so what I think...
Did you invest in dialogue?
Yes, I would talk my way out of anything. What's funny is I could have literally passed the last couple, talking checkpoints for the last part of the game. But at that point, they invested me in so much of hating those people. I just killed them all. But but that's besides the point. Like, Outer Worlds is a lot shorter than your typical Fallout game. Fallout has a lot of fluff in it. Outer Worlds don't. So they focused on the stuff that wasn't fluff in Outer Worlds that they wouldn't generally focus on in Fallout, because the game was so massively large because it's a Fallout game.
Right.
For instance, I wouldn't say that there is one decision in the Outer Worlds that doesn't weigh out a lot of decisions in Fallout. I mean, in Fallout 3, you could blow up an entire town.
Right.
Like, gone, over. It's over. You can't go back to it ever again. I used to kill everyone in that town, steal everyone, and then blow it up. Like, but what I like about the Outer Worlds is, there's a lot of scenarios in Fallout where you have the good and the bad. That's all. In the Outer Worlds, it's like the good is the bad and the bad is the good, and you don't know what to choose.
Right.
It's like you want to stay in the gray area, but it's hard because you have to choose between killing more people or keeping the people alive that you respect the most.
Well, let me ask you, Addict. Now, shout out to Goodang775, a.k.a. Sai! I got to be honest with you. He says his first run through took him 30-plus hours. How is there such a differential there?
Maybe he did. I did a lot less of the side quests on the last two planets because by then I wanted to beat the game because I was so invested in the main storyline.
Okay. He just said he did all the companion side quests and the majority of the side quests. Okay. And that's something else that I would say that's very similar to a BioWare Mass Effect game, where you have these companion quests that kind of they endear you to your companions. You get to see more of their backstory, and it can kind of. I mean, I haven't done those yet, but
I guess I'm one of those people that when people it's like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. I'm like, look, I'm gonna do what's more appealing to me. All right, I ain't gonna sit here for 5 hours on a planet doing stuff that I don't care about. You got my attention span, and the moment you lose it, I'm not going back. Right. It's just not happening.
And I respect you for that, because I'm actually a sucker to keep doing those.
It's like the backbone of every game is the main story. So are you meaning to tell me that you want me to do the side quest when the backbone is supposed to make me addicted to the story? So it's like, I'm one of those people, when I start that main story and I get to that climax point where, shit's just going off, I want to finish it to find out what's going on. I don't want to go help this planet go through all this. And I will say, you want to do all that because the last mission's mad hard if you don't.
Okay.
I died like 53 times. Because, you're supposed to do a lot more to... It's like one of those games where everything you do comes right back to you. So I do suggest you do everything you can in that game. But to my knowledge, Fallout New Vegas is better than Outer Worlds. But Outer Worlds is way better than Fallout 4 and Fallout 3.
And as someone who's got 1,000+ hours in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or confirm everything Addict's saying.
Wow.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take away from Fallout 4, doesn't take away from Fallout New Vegas, doesn't take away from Fallout 3. Fallout 4 is a good first-person shooter. It's a good adventure shooter, but it's not a good Fallout game.
It's not a good role-playing game in general, and I think that's what people are really... Like, the amount of people I've seen in my, Twitter feed, my YouTube feed, they're like, oh my god, look at all these choices. I'm like, oh, you play an RPG before 2008? Because honestly, honestly, this is why people are nothing aggravates me more, because I grew up on 1990s PC RPGs. That's all I played growing up. And when people are like, oh, this game's an RPG, I'm like, no, it's fucking not. Just because you have a skill tree doesn't mean it's an RPG.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, we got a lot of people out here trying to tout Horizon Zero Dawn. Great game, but don't be comparing it to actual RPGs.
Yeah, no, they no.
Horizon's something that you has been dipped in the RPG pool. It's not been dropped in it.
No, it skirts that RPG line, but it's not. It's more of an open world action adventure game.
And that's cool. More RPG elements should be in more games. But
more developers shouldn't be scared to dive into RPGs like this, because clearly Outer Worlds has shown that there's still a market for these games, contrary to what BioWare would have you believe.
And I think the best thing that they did is they didn't make this an open world. They made this like a hub world where you could go to other planets. Yeah. And they didn't say, look, we're going to have you waste time on mad shit. They're like, look, we got a story, we got side quests, we got companion quests. We got plenty of shit for you to do. Go do it.
Can you jump from planet to planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you don't finish, Enrique, if you don't finish on one planet, you can go back and finish it later.
It just depends on your choices, because sometimes that's not available.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let me ask you this then. And it's predominantly, I'm going to ask it to Addict, and I'm going to ask it to Slow-Mo as well as Nick. Did it deserve an 86, a higher score, or a lower score, in your opinion?
I'll say it's right where it.
I think 86.
I think where it is fine. 86 is good.
I think from them, it was great. There's things they need to tweak a little bit more, and I think it was a good learning experience. I'm really excited to see what they can bring to the table in a follow-up.
Yeah, I want them to take the Outer Worlds foundation, and I want them to build onto it. I don't want them to do what Bethesda did with Fallout 4 and take the foundation this has been working good, but we want more people living in the house, and they build a new house.
Right.
People like the Outer Worlds. Take that what worked in that, take out what didn't work in that, improve what worked in that, and build onto it.
Okay, I'll totally buy into that. I can buy that. I'm going to switch subjects slightly again here, guys. While you guys are playing that, I know you guys, this may bring a chuckle, and I don't blame you guys for doing it, because maybe I should have went and played a new IP like The Outer Worlds first, but I knew because of Game Pass it wasn't going anywhere, and we all have it. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, And I think it's because I took a couple of years off. I know. Everybody relax, have a drink, enjoy this segment.
That's okay. I'm playing Need for Speed Heat next week. So,
you see, we both have our issues then, Xbot.
What you with the D?
Dude, it's our McDonald's of gaming.
It is. It really is. I mean, listen, first of all, you guys know I don't
problem with racers in general, don't you, Xbox?
I do. I can't stand racers, but that's a me problem. Myself personally, I don't usually like the Call of Duty campaign. I typically don't play it, but because of the outrage of last year not having one, I thought it was my due diligence to go through it, and I played it through. I went and followed Captain Stu Nuts for about 5-6 hours around, go over here, Mooch. No, over there. No, over there. Then you get a dead president slogan when you die. Okay, and you do it over and over and over again. Okay, I get it. It was a decent story.
I have been hearing good news on that game.
It is. Listen, it is better than most Addict. It is. But I got to tell you, even the multiplayer, I'm enjoying it. Is it because I ignored the multiplayer for so many years and I'm coming back to it? Or is it really the nostalgia of Modern Warfare?
I've learned that I can only dedicate 1-2 max in multiplayer. It's looking like Overwatch is putting that rope around my neck again, so I'm probably gonna go back there.
Coming out, baby.
In Destiny, constantly have they rope around my neck, so I can't get away from there either. I don't got time for other multiplayer, man. That's too much games going around here.
That I can respect, but I mean, listen, I gotta tell you, look at the number: 600 million in sales the first 3 days. This is still the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and every year people are like, "I'm not buying it." Yes,
yeah, I was
gonna
say it's funny. Everybody's like, "I'm not getting this game.
I'll never play it again."
At the end of the day,
until later
everyone that
tonight
says I'm not buying that, they are a drop in the bucket.
Happens
Those people saying that's a drop in the bucket.
That is true. Although technically I didn't buy it because I got it with my graphics card.
It's like I said.
Me too, slow mo.
It's like I said. When it comes to people buying games, I've always said exclusives sell consoles definitely, but the person going to GameStop wanting to play Call of Duty don't have a console, that sells a lot of consoles too, because they're gonna sell them a console. And that's what I've always said. Call of Duty and Destiny being with PlayStation has helped them tremendously. Because if you go to GameStop, they're going to recommend you buy the promotion to it. Now, I don't know if that's with everyone. But when you go there and you see those bundles, people are going to pick it up because they want to play Call of Duty and he's bundled with PlayStation. So
I agree. I mean, do you think a lot of people feel like how I felt? I kind of feel like, and this is something, it's hard to put this into words. I wonder if you guys can actually pick up what I'm putting down here. I think a lot of times when it comes to games that are now in Game Pass, okay, one of them was Gears 5. Now you've got Outer Worlds. I'm of the impression, the way I feel, is those games, even though I don't physically own them because I have Game Pass for the next 3 years, I feel like they're just in my library, right? They're in all of our libraries.
They're just making your backlog more.
Absolutely. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, since everybody's playing Call of Duty, you know how Call of Duty is, right? It's popular now, and then by the time you get to like January 3rd, it's the hardcore still there and the casual. Everybody kind of left it and they're playing something else. So I'm like, let me play that game now while it's in the inn. And Outer Worlds is a game I'm going to play by myself anyway, so I'll play that when I get there. I feel like Game Pass sometimes, whereas if I went and bought Outer Worlds, I'll be like, I'll be damned if I'm not playing that tonight, right? So I kind of feel like I could put Game Pass games on the back burner, much like Addict says. It becomes every game that, not every game, pardon me, I shouldn't say that. A lot of games that come out that aren't Gears or Halo, for me, may be put automatically into my backlog. And we already have an extensive backlog.
At the end, real quick, Mooch, with the Outer Worlds, with Obsidian being under, the first party umbrella now, that could be a comfortable decision for you. But when it comes to other multi-plats that go into Game Pass,
it's timed.
You have no idea when it's coming out, when it's going to hit that leaving soon category.
You make a good point, Xbot. You really do. And RDM says, I like the panel. Good discussion. No bias. Thank you, RD. I appreciate that. No, Xbot, good point. Great point on that. I mean, what about Slow-Mo? I want to get your take on this because we've always had some great Game Pass discussions. I mean, what's your take on this as far as like when you have a game like Call of Duty that comes out right now and you see a lot of people on your friends list playing it? I'm sure you do. We all have that. And then you have a game like Outer Worlds. It's almost hard to like talk that one person who's playing COD right now into stepping away and playing a game that they're going to have for 3 years now if they have Xbox Ultimate or Game Pass Ultimate, pardon me, for the next. You see what I'm saying? It's like you almost throw it into your backlog. I know you didn't do that, but can you see that being a situation?
Yeah, I can see people kind of dismissing it, not really feeling like it's of the utmost importance to play this now.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm the kind of guy, like, for me personally, I was playing both. I usually, like, I have my main game, and then I have all the other games that are coming out that I kind of, kind of dip my toe in one, and I play a little bit for this one. If I really like it, I'll make sure I go ahead and finish it. My intention with Call of Duty and Outer Worlds both coming out on the same day was to try the Call of Duty campaign, because that's typically all I really cared about. I don't really care too much about the Call of Duty multiplayer, but I wanted to play that campaign, and it was so good that I ended up beating it. It wasn't that long anyway. It was like 5-6 hours.
Yeah,
but I ended up beating it like the very next day. And so, although I did play a couple of hours of Outer Worlds, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and just finish Call of Duty. Then I'm gonna get back to it. And that's pretty much what I did. Like to Xbox's point about the third party games that come in, like your After Party or Blair Witch. You don't know how long they're going to be there. So yeah, those games, it's a little bit different, because then I'm like, you know what? This could be only in here for 30 days, or it could be 2 months. I don't know. But if it's launching in Game Pass and it's a game that I care about, like for me, like whether I spent money on it or not isn't really that important. It's more about which game am I really feeling, and which game do I want to play the most. Like I played After Party as soon as it was available, and unfortunately I didn't think it was as good as Oxenfree, but I did finish it this week, and it's already installed, and I moved on to something else.
I gotta say right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and give props to Slow-Mo. If you guys are not paying attention to what he just said, I'm taking notes here. This man just finished Call of Duty's campaign. He's beaten Outer Worlds, or he's so far into it that I can't even see how far he's that far ahead of me. And now he's also said he's beaten After Party. So hats off to you, Slow-Mo. That's a lot of gaming in 1 week, buddy. Nice work.
Yeah, I don't sleep, so
no, man. That's absolutely.
I will say,
impressive.
Is that what you do when you're not arguing with me, Slow-Mo? You play games?
Yeah, when he gets
that's pretty much my time. I don't go. Kids are just completely neglected. Wife, what wife?
What wife?
I just argue with Addict and play games.
So I gotta ask, do you call up? You guys can argue in between games, or is that a thing with you guys?
No, we argue during, between, and before.
Yeah.
I can see Slow-Mo making a shirt right now. What wife? I've got a happy life. Listen, great move. I like that, Slow-Mo. That's fantastic. Shout out to Midway 7 Monster. He says, Captain Price, a.k.a. I'm adding this, Captain Stew Nuts, is the reason why I bought it day one. Just finished the campaign. Love the ending. Can't wait to see how they flush the story out. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug. It certainly is, buddy. I got to be honest with you. Listen, myself personally, I get it. I understand. People felt for their $60. They deserved something in the campaign that was removed last year. Myself personally, and I guess, listen,
I'm looking like it was good too. So,
it is. It was. I enjoyed it.
At the end of the day, I hope this, is a wake-up call to Activision. Like, look, you sold this much because you listened to your consumer base. Stop not listening to your consumer base.
Yes, I think one of the biggest draws was people were wanting a modern.
It's like, people will forget. I don't care what people do. It's like, me and Lord Cognito always say, next gen can completely different for Xbox. 2 days ago, people hated Blizzard. They didn't want Blizzard. They were boycotting Blizzard. Today, all I see on Twitter is, oh my God, Diablo's amazing. Overwatch is amazing. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Diablo 4.
Yeah,
I've always said. You give good games. Gamers don't care about what happened in the past. They have about, what are you doing for me now?
It's true.
Yeah.
Your Mooch.
It has. It's what have you done for me lately? It's what it is. It definitely is. Speaking of that, here's the one thing that I got to say. I'm going to just switch subjects here. Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably what's going to keep me from getting farther.
I've been trying to stop myself from picking that up because I want Pokemon.
It's downstairs right now on the Switch.
Listen, guys, you don't hear Mooch talk about this very often, so you guys really gotta take a second, take a deep breath, grab your favorite drink you've got near you, and hear me out. This game is exquisite. If you're even willing to deal, if you're not a Switch person at all, and you go, no, I don't own a Switch, I don't want Switch, I don't want to play those games. Listen, again, I'm not gonna sell you on it, but if you own a Switch and you don't have this game, boy, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really should try this game out. it is absolutely. It's the first game they actually gave Luigi a proper title. Okay, number 2, it's probably some of the best animation and graphics that I could say a 1080p machine is going to put on your television set. It's fantastic, and
Mooch,
it's fun. Go ahead.
Quick question: as a Switch owner who enjoys a lot of Switch exclusives, but almost zero of the actual first party exclusives, what would convince me to get this game? Because I have like zero interest. I have but I keep hearing all these people talk so greatly about it, and I'm just
so slow-mo.
Best way gonna play Fire Emblem.
Best way for me to give this to you is, of course, it's a 3D game, but it has 2D element because a lot of it is still left to right action. Okay, first of all. Second of all, like I said, it takes Luigi for the first time and gives him a proper role where he's not just like, they've done other things with Luigi, but it's all been a gimmick as far as I've been concerned. Number 3, it's a true. Do you remember when Mario Galaxy came out? When and people were like, "Wow, it's the first time they're doing this 360 thing and turn around." This being able to take Luigi and have the way that they you manipulate the ghosts, you throw them around, you enhance your whatever vacuum, whatever they're calling it there, like a poltergeist or whatever they're calling. I don't know what they're calling it, but whatever. It's a unique play on it. It's a lot. It's just hashtag fun. It's a hard sell as far as wording goes, but it's a true, okay, here you go. It's a true successor, okay, to the next step in any Mario Brothers game that you've wanted to play. Like, so when you had Mario Brothers Deluxe come out, and then you had Galaxy, and then you have Odyssey, and now you have this game. And I understand it's the third in the series, but it's truly.
You know what's funny? I completely forgot they had a sequel. I didn't even play 2 because I think it was only on 3DS.
Yeah, I didn't either. I had no interest in it. I mean, listen,
that's one of my real big things I don't like about Nintendo. Like, you literally making me go into 3 and I've never played 2. Like, why didn't you bring that to the Switch before 3?
Right. But I mean, slow-mo, I don't know if I love to do sales pitches. I really do. I don't know if I'm selling at it, but if you can remember anything from this conversation, it's the next in the progression of Mario Brothers games. It's not just Luigi's little side excursion that you could give two shits about. It's actually a dedicated game. It's got all of the main characters in it. You're actually saving Mario, Princess Toad, etc., etc. All right, but you're actually going through this instead of going through and fighting Bowser. You're going through and you're fighting this King Boo, whatever. Listen, again, guys. All I'm saying is this: if you didn't give a shit that Mario Odyssey came out, then you probably don't give a shit that Luigi Mansion 3 is out. But if you were like, you know what, I played Deluxe, I played this, I've played every Mario Brothers in succession, I think this game belongs in that very next slot of Mario Brothers succession games. And if you missed it, someone may go, Slow-mo, you missed that one back then? You know what I mean? They're going to go, you really did? Like, you missed Galaxy? You missed it? You know, it's like that. It's in that next succession. It's not just a standalone. It's not its own little stepbrother on the side that nobody's going to pay attention to. And guys, chime in too if you've played it on the panel, if you feel what I'm feeling, or you can tell me I'm completely out of my league here. I just think. Well, go ahead.
I feel obligated to chime in and incessantly wants Luigi's Mansion because it's one of the few Switch games that I really, 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 really want.
Nick, it's great.
But Luigi's Mansion, the original, is one of the best launch title games in history. I do not care. The original Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube was just perfection. Love that game to death. Then, as Attic brought up, they did the whole, we're putting it on the 2DS or the 3DS or whatever the hell, the handheld.
Right.
And I was like, man. And I had a Wii U at the time. I remember that was the breaking point. That's what made me sell my Wii U. Because I had my Wii U and I was like, man, this thing could really use a game. And they're like, we have Luigi's Mansion. I'm like, oh, I can play this on my Wii U. They're like, no, it's for 3DS. Mm-hmm. And I hucked that thing at a pawn shop so fast. But I will say, as someone who's been able to hold off on, well, mainly for financial reasons, holding off on getting a Switch, Luigi's Mansion 3 looks like the game that is finally going to snap my back in half, and I'm going to have to adopt some of your mooching techniques to get
Nick,
the Switch.
This is what I'm saying. It's the first game that I got to tell you something. Here we are. It's Friday night, okay? I got Outer Worlds. I really, really should and need to play. I've got Call of Duty that I just told you guys. I'm enjoying the multiplayer to death. Right? Shout out to @Punk Kiddish who was here earlier in the chat. But I got to be honest with you, this game, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3 after this. I can't believe I even said that on the air. It's true. It's that good. It's a lot of fun. Nick, I got to tell you, if you don't have a Switch, and AP Cool J, shout out to AP Cool J in the chat. He says, Mooch, you're making me want to go buy a Switch for this. I'm not trying to sell you on it. The game is that goddamn good. It's a lot of fun. Anybody else on the panel got the game? I know Xbox says he's got it, but it's still wrapped up.
Man, I'm buying it right now. Damn.
Addict, holy shit. Wow. I
See,
just got
look,
a text
look,
message
there
from
you
Reggie.
go. You
Reggie
sold
just said,
somebody. You sold
Reggie and
somebody on it.
Mr. Bowser just wrote me. Yes.
He didn't really sell me on it because I've been like, I've been keeping my Switch off intentionally because I know if I go on there and the home screen's could be like Luigi's Mansion, I'm gonna want to get it. So I haven't been even turning my Switch on.
Addict, you got to write me later on tonight. Listen, just play the first hour, and you can write me. Literally, you can write me. It's great, or you can send me a middle finger.
Look, man,
Nonetheless, it's fantastic.
If I start playing that game, like 5 hours going to go by. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to write Mooch a few hours ago.
It's that good, man. I'm telling you.
Mooch, you know what's funny here?
Yeah.
Beginning of the year, people were looking at the games that were going to be, released and everything. And of course, people were talking, what the game of the year was going to be. And of course, a lot of people said Death Stranding. I believe Days Gone came out this year as well in the beginning of the year, right? And there's people who put that in for game of the year, but the way I'm looking at from gamer reactions,
I think a Nintendo game's getting game of the year this year.
Gamer reactions, I see like 3 games that could possibly be in the list for game of the year would be Link's Awakening, Luigi's Mansion 3, and The Outer Worlds. They could definitely be in the list.
I think Fire Emblem. I was waiting to hear Fire Emblem, and I didn't hear.
I don't know. Xbox, if you have that trap below you, man, I might need to press that lever, and you might need to go somewhere after that.
Dude, I 2x4'd that whole thing, man. I'm not going.
I'm not going anywhere. He says.
Why did you give me this Switch, Mooch, if it don't work?
Oh man, listen. I think it's good. Enrique, you have Switch, don't you?
Yeah, I still need to go pick up my copy, but I think to Nick's point, I mean, he's dead on. Like the first Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube was one of the best games for that platform, and yeah, I'm planning to pick it up. I'll probably pick it up tomorrow. I've been trying to put it off because I don't want to leave Outer Worlds, but that might be
Fire Emblem's the best. Yeah, right? Fire Emblem's the best game on the Switch.
Nintendo another
the
game.
Outer Worlds is coming to the Switch, so just buy it there.
Leave it. Nintendo release another IP. Leave it.
Oh, come on, Forte. You were promoting that on your Twitter yesterday.
Hold up.
I said leave it.
Man,
okay, my bad. I thought you said.
I thought you were saying don't pick it up. I was like, someone clip that. I was like, someone clip that and send it to GameSpot. Like, stop. He needs to be relieved of his position.
Yeah, but the problem is, Mooch, if I pick it up, my kids are going to want to play it. That's the other thing, too.
Enrique, let me just tell you. So I was playing it before the show. I got a couple of minutes. I got everything done. I'm like, all right, played about a half an hour of it. Kids saw it. They're still playing it. It's 2.5 hours now. They're not putting it down. It's that good. I'm telling you. It's a family favorite as well as a nostalgia. Go ahead, Addict.
Anyone here buying Pokemon?
Negative.
No.
So that's just an Addict thing. Okay, gotcha.
Addict, check this out. Snaps won the Pokemon bundle for when it comes out.
Why can't I win anything?
Man, I win. The Xbox family wins a lot. Listen, I know I'm a Mooch, but Mooch keep track of this stuff. Okay.
Can't win nothing. I can't Mooch nothing.
You can't win, but brother, you can't win.
I can't say I can't Mooch. I'm a decent Moocher. I just don't win nothing. So
I don't win shit. That's the difference. The difference between winning and Mooching.
I couldn't even win a speeding ticket if I wanted to. All right, so I'm just gonna have
plenty of those in my life, man.
My luck is just not that great. I'm just going to have to stay away from it. So
guys, I'm gonna bring something up that's controversial here. I mean, it's something that I'm kind of bringing.
Oh, really? On the CrossFire?
Why would that ever come up on this show? Right? Kumbaya is not the name of the show, folks. Listen, I don't personally think it's working out, but I know that somebody on the panel is probably going to disagree with me, and I think it's going to be a great decision here, or discussion, pardon me. The Ninja Shroud experiment on Mixer. Listen, it's not working. I get the first 24 to 48 hours, everything spikes. That's just the way
somebody who streams on Twitch.
Well, I do enjoy Twitch better. I even personally, like I said, I'm not just a client. I'm also a founder.
Mooch, I have to throw the information out there, bro.
No, Xbox, that's fine. I don't hide it. It's all over the place. As a matter of fact, I got an ad going right now during my own show. So listen, I can't say, but I just
so you
yes.
low-key support the ninja movement in the movie because they paying you to support you.
Well, no, listen, I got to be honest with you. I am a huge fan of Shroud. Huge fan of Shroud.
He's actually a good streamer. He's a really good streamer.
He's a very good gamer. I don't think he's extremely entertaining.
Well, sometimes you being good's enough to entertain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't even, there's not even a but or a rebuttal to that. I just think that Microsoft is trying to buy viewership. And unfortunately, I give this example, and Addict and you guys that are kind of giving me a bit of resistance, which is great, by the way. Here's what I always said. Okay, Twitch is kind of like Amazon. If Amazon loses one or two big time, products on their website, you know what Amazon is tomorrow? They're still Amazon. So my point being is that Twitch has got so much. They've got so much viewership. They've got so many personalities. They've got so much talent that when you grab two big names like Ninja and Shroud, and I believe it or not, even though Ninja's the one that's doing the New Year's Eve celebrations, I think Shroud's the bigger pickup, actually.
It is, because I think Shroud has more dedicated pickup.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Mixer isn't just getting those two guys. They also got
Gothalion.
Yeah, they got King Gothalion to come over. There are other big time streamers who said that they have got that. They've got the.
Well, they're trying to ride the coattail.
They've got Mixer trying to get them over, and then they said no. But basically, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep offering the bag to these big streamers until they come over. So with Twitch. It's Twitch still got it going on right now because they've only taken a few, but what if they start taking everybody?
It is the second most used platform for streamers now.
It doesn't mean anything, though.
And no, but it doesn't mean anything to you.
The number's so low. It's not about me, Xbox. The number's so low. It's such a drop off from one.
What they're doing is they are building a foundation to move forward on. They're not looking to eclipse Twitch right now. If it ever happened, they'd be like, "Oh, damn, this is great," and they're going to keep moving forward.
They're not going to ever.
They're trying to
Twitch.
build.
They're not to
be a more credible.
Everybody goes to the mall, and Twitch is the mall.
Let me counter this with some points here. So, how many times in all you guys make YouTube content? How many times in the whole time you guys have been making YouTube content have you gone, "Holy cow, I would love something other than YouTube"? What other options other than YouTube do you have?
Every time I see that yellow light.
Okay, so now let's walk down the mystical trail of logic here. So Mixer is, by all extents and purposes, a more efficient, a better working platform. They don't have a base.
I disagree, but go ahead.
As
a customer, not a streamer, I can every time I go on Mixer on my app or on the Xbox, the audio is like 50% at best. I can sometimes never hear it. I've got Verizon. I got 1 gig up, 1 gig down, so I don't have bad internet. I have absolutely no idea. Mixer for me is almost impossible to watch for long periods of time. But that's a me problem.
I think that might be a bit of a a personal experience thing. I know me with Twitch, and I still mostly watch. If I watch anyone, I'm watching them on Twitch. But I get a lot of buffering if I'm not on Wi-Fi when I'm watching the stream on Twitch, and then also the Mixer has a much shorter latency than Twitch does.
I saw Kitsman. I was watching Kitsman stream, and I saw him complain because he couldn't find something Outer World. So obviously he was asking me how did he does it, and I literally saw him go on.
Couldn't find something. Whoa.
That's besides the point. That's not really that unnormal, but we ain't going into that. So I saw him go live stream on Mixer and clicked invite me at a party, and literally popped up almost instantly.
So, if barring different people's experiences, how is Mixer supposed to grow its audience outside of, and it has to be able to bite into Twitch's market share other than making people aware of the platform? Let's face it, there's other platforms besides YouTube. Can any of you guys name them?
There's the
Daily Motion.
Daily Motion. There you go. You could be right in there with all porn that's also allowed on Daily Motion.
At the end of the day,
Two birds, one stone, man.
Well, no, Nick
Xbox. We need to bring Brap to that Daily Motion.
What you need to do.
I'm the first special guest.
But Nick, here's the thing. I think from a business standpoint, what you just said holds a lot of water. Okay, absolutely, it's a great business move. But what happens right now is, and it doesn't take a lot. I'm not looking at it right now, but you guys go ahead. I do it a lot of times on the shows live. You've got around 30,000 concurrent viewers right now on Mixer total. You've got over 1 million on Twitch. It's just.
But
at
the end of the day, if Shroud, the Ninja thing, the Gothalion thing, if none of that was done, what would you have now? Like they weren't even really getting that.
That's kind of my point.
Also,
it didn't. For the money out, they're only getting about 15,000 viewers more than they did before those big acquisitions.
I think that it would be more beneficial. That's just me. If they would take the money they spent on Shroud and they spent on Ninja, and they would get the middle tier guys, because chances are they're watching the same people anyway.
Yo, guys,
this is the thing. People keep
missing one thing. You are missing one thing here, and any streamer out there who isn't kind of like partial to Twitch knows this. All right, when it comes down to it, there are a lot of streamers that stream on Twitch that are not happy with Twitch.
Well, you know, that's another thing. Like, what are we ever gonna? We need to start blaming Twitch, because Twitch be doing stupid shit all the time.
Yeah.
Look, and if, like, as it was always stated before, Mixer is going to eclipse Twitch unless Twitch did something so catastrophically terrible, that they lost like their viewership.
It's like the Epic Game Store versus Steam thing.
Yeah, the thing is that if Mixer can start holding Twitch accountable, when Twitch let that girl throw her cat across the room,
right?
Mixer came out and went, hey, here's our terms and services, and here's a clear-cut guide of what everyone's held accountable to. And you know what Twitch did? They didn't say jack all.
Okay, but
let me N-bomb and stuff like that.
Let me say something that's in the chat real quick, if you don't mind. Someone said Gothalion is a middle tier. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm willing to bet you they spent a fraction.
Nowhere near middle tier, bro.
No, he's not as big as Ninja though. That's what I'm saying.
He was top 10 in subs and viewers on Twitch. Top 10. That's not small.
Yeah, that's not
they're going strictly for the top. They are
somebody like
marketing.
Somebody like Say No to Rage is like middle tier.
Here's the thing though, what you guys are missing is that we don't know what the actual deals are. When these contracts are rumored to be 2 years. When these contracts are out, and you had the middle of nothing, season 8, season 9 of Fortnite, okay? Nothing was going on, no big deal. Ninja was getting about 68,000 viewers. Now, even when something new comes out, like a new battle pass or something like that, he's getting 17,000. You don't think that kind of bothers somebody when they go to do a performance and all of a sudden there's like nowhere there in the audience? When this 2 years is up, he's going back to Twitter.
I think Ninja's like, man, I got like half the viewership I had on Twitch. But yo, that money in my bank account right now looks nice.
It does. It definitely does. I mean, that's why he made the move.
He's go right back to Twitch. And the thing is about Twitch.
Well, no, Ninja even said himself.
How much shade they threw him when he left Twitch?
Streaming. He even said he doesn't see himself streaming long term like that. You know, he's probably just going to go off this contract and go do something else.
I watched a guy's YouTube channel who he's kind of like the Matt Piscatella of streamers, and he said the reason that Ninja made the move, predominantly Ninja, was what I believe Forte just said. Ninja's been very vocal in that he does not want to spend 8 to 10 hours a day streaming anymore. So he took the big payout because that solidifies the amount of money. And now he can do less streaming.
This is the thing. Microsoft didn't put this money in their or Xbox or Microsoft didn't put this money in their pocket just for stream. They didn't buy viewers. People keep saying they're buying viewers from Twitch. No, they're not buying that. They're buying talent. They're buying talent and they're buying marketing. These guys are going to do. That's why he didn't go after the middle tier, because middle tier doesn't market the game like bigger people like Ninja, Shroud, and Gothalion. Gothalion still averages.
I didn't realize King Gothalion was that big on Twitch.
Dude,
oh yeah,
I don't be watching Twitch
of
like
all
that.
of the streamers that like of the three that with the big three that they
I want to
over,
shout out. He's a
Gadalion-
big Destiny dude too. Want to shout that?
Yes, sir. But Gadalion is the one that's kind of kept his same averages when he left Twitch and came over to what, because he didn't have ridiculous numbers like Shroud and Ninja, like 17, 21,000. He was only averaging like 6,000 or 7,000, per stream. And he averages that on Mixer still now, just streaming Destiny. And that directory
in
was
Borderlands.
and Borderlands, and those directories on Mixer were non-existent. And now look at it, they're like on the top of the board unless something going on in Fortnite or Ninja or Shroud is streaming. But the biggest thing that people got to realize is it's not about them individually in the game that they play at that time. They're just buying the marketing that they are going to show when certain games that they want to push. They're gonna get 1,000 eyeballs.
But at the end of the day, is that really helping though? Like Ninja streamed Gears for 6 hours and he's never touched it again.
Yeah, Forte. Like we haven't heard or seen him stream Gears 5 since like Attic said.
But I mean,
that was it.
At the end of the day,
I don't think did that out of like a contract.
At the end of the day, I don't think that's going to be something that you'll see with Halo. Like Ninja is directed straight to Halo. He likes Halo. He's going to play Halo.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he was probably going to play Halo regardless if he was on Switch or Mixer.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think, listen, what he likes to do and what his audience wants to watch him do is two different things. He's a Fortnite player.
And I think that's the biggest reason.
Period.
He's getting paid big money to be on Mixer now. So he can actually go ahead and choose. He doesn't have to be forced to it. Look, I know streamers. I've known streamers who like they got a small following in a game, but they got tired of that game. But their audience only wants them to play that game, and they just hate having to play it. But he doesn't have to do that now because he's getting paid.
I think that was the biggest thing he wanted to do.
If you ask somebody, hear me out real quick, guys. If you ask somebody who's a comedian, a rock star, and they sold out Madison Square Garden, and then they get a big paycheck, and then all of a sudden they're doing like a local park show, they got their money, they're happy. But at the end of the day, when they're out there doing their bit, their skit, their performance, and there's nobody there like there used to be,
sometimes
it means that bothers them. And I'm telling you right now, you have like literally. So Dr. Disrespect the other day, it was really funny. Somebody asked him on his show, and I think you guys saw it. It was all over YouTube. Like they said to him, they're like, "Are you ever gonna go?" He's like, "Am I ever gonna go?" He's like, "I'm doing my intro. I haven't even started my show yet. I have 50,000 people." He's like, "That's more than Ninja had 2 full days in a row. I have in my intro." He's like, "No, I'm not going to Mixer."
But at the end of the day, I think the reason he did that is because he got tired of being a Fortnite streamer. Look what he's streaming on Mixer.
He's still streaming Fortnite.
But he's not streaming because of Season 2. He streamed WoW for a week and a half.
I got news for you, but when Halo comes out and he has even less people...
I think he got tired of being a Fortnite streamer exclusively on Twitch, and he came over here and he's trying to build his channel around not just Fortnite.
He was playing Minecraft and had like a good 30,000 people watching them play Minecraft.
But again, that's because Twitch has that audience.
But then also I do want to say something about so Dr. Disrespect saying that. Yeah, I mean he said that, but is that actually true? Because honestly, his shtick, he couldn't do that on Mixer anyway.
Right? No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't.
So him saying, "Well, I ain't going there because I got 50,000 people right here." No, you ain't going there because you can't do what you're doing there.
Microsoft would never let the doc do his shtick over on Mixer. You know what I mean?
No.
Mixer's kind of like PBS. Everything's just got to be like rainbows and sunshine. And maybe that's why myself personally, Twitch for me is more appealing, not just as a streamer, but as a viewer. I would rather go watch these guys that are able to put on an entertaining show. Whereas I know when I go over to see Shroud now, it's going to be like 2 sock puppets being like, "We're going to stream today. Let's do it, Shroud." And then they play, and it's like I don't know if that's necessarily as entertaining for me.
I mean, but I don't think Ninja and Shroud are doing anything differently than they were doing on Twitch.
No, they were already PG. They were already PG.
Let's back it up. Keep in mind, the whole reason Ninja was picked up in the first place. Everyone misses this because everyone looks at Ninja and thinks Fortnite. That's all anyone thinks of. Thing is that kid was in his bag for 4.5 years in MLG Halo. He was one of the deadliest kids
Nick, he got founded and got big when Drake asked him, "What's the deal with Fortnite?" Okay, it doesn't matter. He was not a big.
This is why people are trying to blow up Mixer right now. But this is the two guys they've picked up. First of all, they took Twitch's 2 top guys, and I don't know of any company that will be happy when like Ninja had 14.
I mean, they clearly wasn't happy because they trolled Ninja's account on Twitch.
Oh,
like they
absolutely.
literally.
So you got Ninja, who's got 14.1 million followers. You got those are the 2 biggest guys on your platform. Go to another platform. Yeah, they're going to see less success over in Mixer. Twitch is going to drop some viewers. Mixer gains some. But what all of this is really about is my Xbox now has on their streaming platform 2 of the best FPS players to debut Halo Infinite. This is all this is about.
But here's the thing, though, Nick, and I gotta say this, and I know nobody likes this, because if you go back in time, and when I say back in time, I mean 2 months ago, okay? Not 20 years or 2 years, 2 months. Everybody's like, Mooch, what you don't understand is they brought Ninja, because they didn't have Shroud yet, they brought Ninja over here to promote Gears of War. Let me tell you something. Fail. It didn't work. And now everyone's like, well, that didn't work, but they brought him over for Halo, gosh darn it.
Well, I mean,
listen, it's
people are
not,
saying
that's not when he
that.
streams.
But Mooch, he said that about Halo when he announced going to Mixer.
Slow-mo,
So
my kids and Enrique's kids and your kids, ask them right now, hey, what's Ninja play? None of them are going to say Halo. And
well,
if
look,
you ask them if they want to
listen,
watch him
Mooch,
play
I
Halo,
agree with
they
you,
don't
Mooch,
want
I
to watch
agree
him
with you
play
because I've
Halo.
said this about Halo myself. I said Halo needs to evolve so that the younger generation can actually like it.
I do want to.
That's kind of beside the point of why they brought him over. They did bring him over for Halo, absolutely. Shroud is going to do it too. King Ithalian is going to play Halo. I don't know if he's ever played Halo before, but he will now.
Because of contractual agreement.
But we can't. Let's be real.
The thing is, what I'm trying to say is that like this isn't. They're not just going to stop here. Like it's not just with these 3 guys that they got. They're going to keep trying to get people watched. They're going to get like the biggest female streamer on Twitch, like Pokemon or something like that. They're going to get.
There's already a Reddit thread going on that they've already locked in. And they don't know who it's not announced yet, but it's apparently coming next month. So
there's a big.
They're going to keep doing this, and this is why. Like I watched one female stream. I'll shout her out right now. She's got a great stream. Her name's Story Mode Bay. Story Mode Bay just got partnered out of nowhere. And it's just like now they're trying to build up like their smaller like streamers who have like a good following. They're like small to middle tier because they want them to grow in Twitch because they see where this is going. They're losing their top people. So they need to start building up some of these other smaller guys and making sure they're good.
Twitch is paying their folks more now. They're allowing ads to go, more of that revenue share is going to their streamers. They've opened their eyes. So they're stopped being so stingy. They're starting to pay those guys, right? So, and gals, my point being is that you guys got to understand something. Shout out to everybody that's here and that comes to this channel every week, and they love what we do here. But in all honesty, if all of a sudden next week's CrossFire is about the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins game, viewership drops, right? So my point being is, my point is that you guys are saying that they're contractually obligated. I agree with all of you guys. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. All I'm saying to you is that that's not what their clientele wants to watch. So because Microsoft's telling them to do that, it doesn't necessarily transpose into viewership. And if the viewership's not there, that's all Microsoft gives a shit about. They're getting paid. They don't care. But that's what Microsoft cares
Mooch, I don't want to say absolutely that it's a guarantee that their audience isn't going to like some of these games. Some of these kids are so young, they really ain't even really seen a Halo game before.
No, they don't.
So some of them may actually like it. It's more like the averages. The majority.
Hey, hold
on. That's cool and all.
Real quick.
I really want to see you play Fortnite. When you play Halo, I ain't gonna watch. But then they're gonna be a percentage of those kids that are gonna be like, that game's actually pretty good. I think I might want to play that. And I think they understand that already.
I think we need to realize that this might just be something we don't understand. This is a completely different industry. It's the streaming industry. We don't know shit about that. Has anyone here done anything related to any type of research about what's going on in
Addict? It's still young.
Service?
It is still very early on. I'm going to give the mic to Enrique in a second.
But how do you expect a platform to grow without investing money into that platform?
Absolutely. And
we can't say we want more eyes on stuff like Gears and Halo, and they do that, and then we're still not good enough.
But you've got two of the biggest guys there now, and the numbers aren't growing that much. They're just not. So I'm saying you guys are like, well, let's grab another Guthalion.
But the numbers are growing. It's just not. The numbers are growing. It's just not what they're doing on Twitch. Twitch is a bigger platform. They're going to have bigger growing numbers over there.
Associate Mixer to first-party Xbox. Period. I think that's just that because it's on the platform. It's part of the software. It's part of the GUI, if you will. That's what it is. So I mean,
I'm willing to bet a lot of people that watch Mixer don't even know Microsoft.
I think a lot of people know that actually, Alex. Enrique, what did you want to say on this? I know you had some words.
Yeah, I get that they have to invest, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to build out the platform. I get that. The thing that's interesting is that there hasn't been that effect, that like what I call the ninja effect, what a lot of people thought was going to happen. I said this last week because I think we talked about this. I think I think a lot of people were watching them because they were playing the games that they wanted to watch people play. I think Shroud is a big Counter-Strike global offensive guy, if I'm not mistaken. Are people going to go watch him play that on Mixer? Probably not. They're probably going to go watch somebody else on Twitter play that. I use my kids as an example. My kids know who Ninja is, but I asked them, what does Ninja play? Fortnite. And so they don't. It's not that they're watching Ninja; they're watching Fortnite,
right?
And so how do you get all those people to go to Mixer to watch Fortnite?
They're not targeting the entire demographic of people that watch Ninja. They're targeting his core audience.
That's just what his core.
At the end of the day, there's more traffic going through Mixer with them than without them. We can't deny that. That's what's happening.
No one's saying that's not true, though. We're not saying that's not true. That is true.
What is Ninja averaging on average on his streams now?
Probably somewhere between. This is a guesstimate, but I've been looking somewhere probably between 13 and 16,000.
Okay, has the Fortnite directory before he got there been averaging anything near that?
Hold on 1 second, yo. My brother Z Black Rider in the chat says Mixer is up 400%.
Yeah, but what he didn't realize is they were at minus 399% prior. Go ahead.
But that's irrelevant. You have to do something to get
absolutely.
Growth.
Addict. We are saying me and Enrique are saying actually we agree with you.
Growth.
We agree with you, but you got to understand. Yeah, but at 400% growth from what? You know what I'm saying? Like
from the base.
If your pizzeria was making $1 last month, you made 400% profit. You're still broke.
Okay, hold up. So I'm confused. Like we are establishing that what they're doing. Okay, I don't know why something's randomly on my PC. I had to close it out. So we're establishing that what they're doing is bringing growth to the website. Are you guys' argument that it's not bringing enough growth, or that they shouldn't do it? Because I'm confused. What's going on?
Enough growth.
But what is more than what it was?
That doesn't cut it.
Listen. Okay. So 400%'s not enough?
It depends on the numbers. 400% from what? What I'm trying to say, like I said, if you were making $1 last,
it's irrelevant where it started. Where it's going is the relevant part. When it was negative 300% without the Shrouds,
the amount of money they put out for these guys, and they were, like I said, Ninja was getting.
But how do we know how much they put out?
68,000 viewers. These are what we do know.
But now we're talking about them as individual content creators.
A boring Wednesday night.
We need to talk about Mixer as a whole.
A boring Wednesday night on Twitch in the middle of a season pass that had nothing to do with anything. He was having 68 to 70,000 viewers. He's getting 17,000 on a major.
That's the numbers. That's the numbers that he brought in on Twitch with a bigger platform, bigger numbers. When he goes on, like when you go on Twitch right now, you're gonna see. Okay, look. Let me go to Fortnite. It is right. More people watch Ninja because he's a Fortnite streamer.
Right.
You go to Fortnite, people are watching for him. Oh, Ninja. Click Ninja. You're not having that on Mixer. You don't have those random people that go in there and just click on that. You have a way smaller demographic, and to me, growth is growth.
Yeah.
Well,
Twitch did not get where they are overnight.
Addict, you're right, but where you're wrong is that growth. There's a percentage of growth they're looking for, and that 400%
Like
is spiked.
400?
It's
Yeah, but Mooch, you don't know if that percentage of growth they're looking for is higher or lower than 400%. You don't know that.
They would not keep investing
if
they weren't getting the results they wanted.
That's a spike that Z Black Writer's
Mooch,
talking about.
brother,
That's a spike
brother,
because they
Mooch,
just got him. That's not
Mooch, you know I love you to death, man. You are my brother. I believe that you are.
All right, let me go. Let me go
you are
right.
definitely partisan to the Twitch thing, man. Because you.
All right, right
No,
now.
what do I?
Twitch as well,
Because I got
man.
1,200 subscribers on Twitch.
All right,
I'm not
right
even
now,
an
right
arm
now.
hair on that channel.
Right now, I'm going on Twitch
Yes.
on Mixer. There is 8,667 people watching Ninja. Okay, regardless what kind of numbers are, that's 8,667 people that wouldn't be on Mixer. Let's go to Shroud. Okay, Shroud, he's 12,799 people. He's playing Call of Duty. It's probably where he's playing a bigger game, and I consider him a bigger name than Ninja. That's 12,000.
Okay, wait. So listen, on Twitch right now, the guy who was probably nobody before, who is the number one guy right now, has 14.2
But that is irrelevant. We're talking
who is
about
that
growth on
guy?
Mixer.
Who is that guy?
You
though?
took
Who's
the
that
biggest guy. You took the biggest guy off the channel to go grab him. This is Nick Merckx.
Nick Merckx is a huge channel, though.
Not compared to Fortnite. When you had Fortnite, you had
No.
Ninja had 70,000 people on another
Nick-
tonight.
And Nick whoever will probably be on Mixer in January.
Probably.
Let's put it into a perspective of where the actual demographic is. All right, so I'm in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare tile right now. There is 18,557 people. 12,000 of them are from Shroud. The next one after him is 192 views, Mooch. It's clearly some kind of influence of views going into this website.
You totally proved my point. That's what I'm saying. The amount of money and the amount of hype that is going into it is not putting out the outcome. That one guy
how do
coming
we
over.
know that they didn't expect this? Why is it that the Mooch thought process and what kind of growth is the end all be all thought?
I didn't say that, but why is the addict one the say all be all? It's
No, I'm not. I don't give two shits about Mixer.
Okay, so wait. Let me just say this much because he just said the Mooch one. So Dr. Disrespect has done 2 shows now with 30 minutes apiece breaking down why the Mixer move is a bad move. So forget the Mooch analogies and the Mooch's say all end all. Is Dr. Disrespect say all end all better than mine, Addict?
Let me
Because he said it's not worth it and he breaks it down in the 30-minute segment. You should check it out.
Dr. Disrespect is just
Once again the guy that could not go to Mixer anyways.
Right. Well, according to him, they offered him money first.
Look, Mitch. If
they
you
offered
took
him
any
money
kind of
first.
Look. If you talk any kind of disrespect to me saying the Mitch way, I was not.
No, I hear you.
in
I'm
a
just saying it's not
disrespectful
me.
way.
It's not a me thing.
His beer took over.
I just think
Look,
personally
I'm
that
saying from a standpoint that, look, we can't sit there and say, okay, Mixer's not doing well. They need to invest in Mixer. And then they invest in the Mixer and they shouldn't have invested that much. We can't say that. They invested. They got some of the biggest streamers on their competing platform to come over. That took their, whatever it's doing at all, they're doing it. Like, it doesn't matter that the views, it doesn't matter the growth. Mixer is 400% above what it was. It doesn't matter where it started. It is where it is now because of the investment that they done.
And to top off Addict's point too, and Mooch, as someone on Twitch, if Mixer is actually starts competing with Twitch, that means Twitch will become a better platform for you to use. And Dr. Disrespect not hilarious because he's just mad that ain't nobody giving him the bag after he filmed people in a bathroom. Let's be real here. No one's paying that man to move platforms because he basically broke a state law, and then Twitch was like, oh, we banned him for a week and then we unbanned him because he makes us a ton of money.
He makes a lot of money.
Featured him on the front page for his return stream after quote unquote banning him. So I take anything he says with a grain of salt.
That's like a slap on the wrist and be like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah,
We okay?
Nick, I don't agree with that because he makes them a lot of money, and I think that like if he didn't have such a,
I think that's one of the biggest issues. That's the issue we have on YouTube. People get they get a buy to because of their viewership, and everyone else just gets screwed. Have you ever tried to contact YouTube? Have you ever tried to contact any kind of That's what I'm saying. But these bigger names can make a phone call and get a hold of them.
That's
because
true.
they make more money.
To Addict's point too, and that's the unfair thing. Dr. Disrespect can say a endless streamline of profanity and everything, not get banned. Right. But small channels on Twitch, if you say profanity and everything else, they have no problem of hitting you with a 30-day ban.
Well, now wait a minute, Nick. That's not fair. We just said that somebody threw a cat and this and that. Listen, they didn't get banned. They didn't get nothing.
That was Alinity. She's huge.
Yeah, this is my point.
What kind of viewership?
Massively huge on
what kind
Twitch.
Of viewership?
Say what?
What does she have? What's her number?
Well, let me look.
Roughly.
Man, she's up there. I don't know her numbers, but she's way up there.
Bigger than Goliathan or whatever that guy's name is.
She might be.
She's bigger than Goth.
Hold on.
She's streaming right now. She's got like only 2,000 people watching.
That's not big. Listen, that's not the biggest.
But she's actually playing a game.
I don't agree with Nick saying that.
She's actually playing a game.
How many followers does she have? How many followers does she have?
I think Twitch is kind of like HBO, and I kind of think that Mixer is kind of like NBC. Okay, that's the way I look at it. HBO, you can do whatever you want. And on NBC, you got to follow a very strict set of guidelines.
I mean, I've seen some crazy shit on Mixer. Are we saying that everything's PG on Mixer?
What have you seen that's crazy on Mixer besides Puppets?
I've seen some of those. What's those things called where people leave? I've seen some blood, some saw.
All I know is
crazy shit on Mixer.
All I know is after Goff went over to Mixer, Tfue put out a tweet saying, first Ninja, then Shroud, then Goth, who's next? And then all of a sudden, Mixer just put up an emoji with a thinking face on it and sent it over to him. So they ain't done with this. Tfue might be the next person. He's like the biggest streamer on Mixer right now. I mean, on Twitch.
You guys asking me how many followers does Alinity have? She has almost 1 million.
Yeah,
she's around par with King Goliath.
Yeah,
and don't let them.
And they don't look. She's damn hot. They don't watch her because she plays good games. She's average.
Listen,
when she's sitting there and she's half naked and she got her titties out, that's when everyone's
but slow-mo. Listen, you guys. The thing is, you guys kind of contradict each other. You guys are agreeing with me that Mixer doesn't allow certain kind of activity, right? They're a little bit more strict. We know that. Okay, Phil went out at the Build conference 2 years ago and said we have a zero tolerance policy. Okay. So what she does and how she dresses and the way that she does, like in the cat thing, Microsoft's not going to bring her over.
But is that a bad thing, though?
Yeah,
listen, let me explain this really quick. I think you should be able to do what you want. I think viewers should be like, if a viewer's appalled,
but then you just have another Twitch area. You just have another Twitch scenario.
I think Twitch is a better platform because they let them do what they want to do.
But they don't. They let some people do what they want to do.
Who do they ban? I'm asking, who have they banned?
It's smaller.
They ban people all the time.
They didn't ban. They didn't ban.
10% they don't ban. That's all.
Hold on. We can put this to the test. Mooch, you go stream on Twitch tonight and you do whatever you want.
Yeah, but that's not my channel. My thing is, like, if they want to do that and that's their shtick, let them do that.
But the fact is, they don't just let people run wild. They literally banned someone for it was like 30 days because
But Dr. Disrespect, you said did something that was illegal in the state, and in 10 days he was back.
He got banned. He got banned though.
He's back.
But he got banned.
Yeah, he got back for the simple reason of the amount of ad.
Exactly.
You let someone do what Dr. Disrespect do that has a fraction of his viewership, then we'll come back if he comes back or not.
Well, that's on. Yeah, but on Mixer, you wouldn't be able to even turn the camera on to do what he did. They would have banned him.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be able to if you're recording people.
That's a different conversation.
You're recording people in the bathroom is illegal.
Mixer is definitely more stringent and strict on
but
creators.
At the end of the day, I think we need that now.
That's all I'm saying.
Crazy shit on Twitch for no reason.
Listen, there's nobody who's going to I'm not going to disagree with you, Addict, that there should be rules and guidelines. There absolutely should be.
I feel like Twitch, if you make them good money, then you could do whatever you want. But if you don't make them good money, nah, man, we can't have that. You got to go down. You come back in 7 days. You come back in a month.
I think as long as you're not breaking laws, you should. If you want to do something on your channel, Addict, I nor anybody else should tell you what to do.
But if it's breaking their guidelines, then that people break their guidelines all the time. That's why they're getting banned all the time. It's the only people.
If they break the rules, you get banned. Period.
But the only people we're not seeing getting banned is the big percentage of people. They're very strict if you're not them people.
Yeah. There was the guy in the UK who beat his wife on stream, and he got back in what, a month?
Yep. And then
I mean, come on, like that,
they rebanned him. Are you kidding me? Did you just unban? And he wasn't 75,000 followers or something. He wasn't even huge. That's
but Mixer does not have to go after those kind of people just because they have a huge following.
Right.
Forget Alinity and her throwing cats. Go after Pokemon.
There's a reason Alinity ain't been got to kind of check, because they don't need that kind of demographic. Like if she's throwing her cat behind it, look, I don't think that was a big deal, because clearly the cat wasn't hurt. But it's just like, look, like when you're doing this stuff all the time, because she does it all the time,
and she did feed her cat vodka.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
I'm gonna put it this way. I get where which is kind of like when I started YouTube back in like 2012, 2011. You could basically do what you wanted. Like my original channel when I was
the ad revenues that make it to where you can't do what you want.
Yeah, but the thing is though is like there needs to be a middle. With Mixer, they allow 18 plus streamers and yada yada yada, so you get some wiggle room in there if you want to. But with Twitch, the biggest thing that drives me nuts with Twitch is lack of consistency. You should not bring the hammer down on a dude that has 13 followers. The same rules should apply across the board. If you want to have a free platform and everything else where everyone can do, like, if a guy that has 20 followers hucks his cat across, you shouldn't ban him.
And you know what, Mitch? Yeah. This isn't just a Mixer or Twitch problem. This is YouTube problem. You got big YouTubers going over across the pond, and they're starting legit, like they're making all kinds of ruckus. Like I remember, like Logan Paul, one of them, did some crazy shit in Japan, and no one really, he didn't really get any kind of repercussions. We got the Death Forest thing. Like it happens every platform.
Right.
If you make people enough money, they ain't gonna care what you do.
Yep, and Logan Paul had a YouTube Red movie that was coming out like that month, and they said, "Oh, we're canceling that." No, they didn't. They just postponed it for a year, hoping that people would forget what he did at the Suicide Forest before they released it. And he lost ad revenue for like a week, but it didn't matter because he gained like 5 million additional subs off of the whole controversy of what he did. So it's just like. Yeah, if that was anyone else, they would have deleted your channel.
These streaming streets are crazy. These streaming streets are crazy.
All I want is Mixer to be in a position where it keeps Twitch competitive. Because the problem with YouTube is there's no competitor. The problem with Twitch is there is no competitor. If Microsoft wants to throw bags of money at streamers to bring people to a different platform, and if it makes Twitch sweat and reconsider some of the things they've done, then that's a win.
Nick, I got to be honest with you. I completely agree with everything you just said because it does make Twitch a better place. Yes.
I hate to do this, but I got to go. I got to go get some food because I have to work tonight. But I definitely appreciate the invite.
Addict, always awesome to have you on. I'm going to end with one more subject. Guys, do please check out Addict. We've been promoting him all over the show. Jay, if you don't mind, put Addict's credentials up if you don't mind. There they are right there for you guys to check out. Addict, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Always a great debate on CrossFire. When Addict says, Mooch, can I get on here? I'm like, yeah, buddy, let's go.
So, it is. Me and you are just too passionate.
It's great about it, dude. You're the only guy who keeps up with my yelling. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the invite. Definitely catch the Iron Lords podcast at Sunday. I almost forgot what time we doing it right now. Sunday at 11 a.m.
Sunday, you're at 11, yes.
Yeah, for now. But I definitely appreciate everyone coming through. Definitely hit that like button. Mooch definitely puts on a good show. I've always said on multiple occasions you're one of the best hosts in the community. Like
Thank
I really
you,
am.
Addict. That means a lot. Honestly.
I definitely appreciate it. Until next time I'm off on a Friday, which is never. See you guys
the next time you are off on a Friday, you're already booked. You're on the show, so just let me know.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Addict. I appreciate that, guys.
Man.
I wanted before we do final outros though, I do want to go over one last subject because we did get a late start, and I won't keep you guys much longer because it's Friday night. Aaron Greenberg tweeted out, games, focus of XO19. I want to start with Nick. Nick, what do you think? Is this something where, we've heard so many times now from the executives that the games are coming, we're going to see them, and then we saw something, from Bleeding Edge, from Ninja Theory comes down to, don't forget, we're going to keep you on the edge of your seat. So, definitely Bleeding Edge is what they're going to show. What do you think? I mean, is this just, XO doesn't get viewership. It gets inside Xbox viewership numbers. They're not going to really release anything big at this event. This is a fan fest, really. What do you think?
Well, it's always hard to gauge. And I'm always in check, especially when it comes to Aaron Greenberg, because honestly, I find the guy overhypes things to a degree where I'm like,
thank you, Nick.
Like, I get it. He's the marketing guy for Xbox. It's his job. I get it. But there's times where I'm like, this isn't hype worthy. So whenever he says something along those lines, I take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, they're going to show games. Obviously, that's going to be their primary focus. I get that. What are they going to show? I don't know. I think we live in such a system now with social media where every little thing can be turned into news. And it's kind of getting crazy because, I remember back 5-6 years ago, people would wait for press releases to write articles about something and whatnot. Now, people will do a whole 500 to 1,000 word editorial on a tweet that Aaron Greenberg made in an offhand reply to someone. And is does this hint at big things for Xbox? And it turns into this whole thing. And I just think people get too wrapped up in that. For me, I want to see a couple of games. Show me what you got. That's all I'm going. That's my only.
Would you be content with Bleeding Edge and Battletoads at XO19?
If that's what they want to show, that's what they want to show. Me personally, I don't care about Battletoads. And I just killed Xbox with one phrase.
Dude, my heart just jumped. I'm like, no!
Bleeding Edge, I'm really interested in. I want to see what Ninja Theory can do and things like that. But as far as if that's all they show, and that's what they're hyping up, they need to check themselves before the internet wrecks them again.
All right, check this out. And when it comes to XO, I feel that it is important for them to announce and show things that they wouldn't normally show on Inside Xbox. This is a show that doesn't come around once a month or something like that. It's a big show. I believe it's once a year. They got to show that there's a reason why you want to tune in once a year for the XO event. In which case, I think they should show something larger. And with that, it's kind of a weird scenario right now because we're all looking at E3 coming up in 2020 with unveiling the systems, showing the launch lineups for Scarlet and stuff like that. So it's well, what are they really going to show?
Right, exactly.
Xbox. Right? And I feel like they need to show more. They have me on board with Battletoads. I'm really interested in Bleeding Edge because Ninja Theory's melee combat systems are always top notch. So, a lot of people are
agree with that Xbox only because if you're looking at their resume, I'll ride with you in their early work, but those early games that you keep bringing up, that's not the staff that's there today. So the only melee listen. I played Death.
Since you're telling me, hold on, but since you're telling me it's not the same staff, so you obviously knew the staff before, and you know the entire staff now, so you can tell me what percentage are new people, and what percentage are people
remind me real quick, guys. What was the what's Ninja Theory's latest game there? I'm drawing a blank. Hellblade. Thank you. So let's just use the evidence we have in front of us. You're discussing games that they made in their resume, in their portfolio from 20 years ago.
Because the melee combat in Hellblade can be as complex as you want it to be.
Hellblade's melee combat made Rise look really like a Pulitzer, come on. That wasn't that big of a deal. It was block, duck, 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 swipe. Block, duck, duck, duck,
that's about
swipe.
all that combat.
But it's also kind of irrelevant because that's a different team at Ninja Theory. The team that's working on Bleeding Edge
you said that this studio does not have the same people from back in the day.
What I'm saying is the Devil May Cry game you're referring to is not the same Melee I played in Hellblade.
Okay, but
and that's the evidence we have in front of us. We don't. Slow-mo makes a good point, but we also don't know those people that he's talking about on the other team that may be working on something else or on Bleeding Edge. We don't even know where they came from. So we can't say a game that this company made 20 years ago. The only thing we can look at is what they made 2 years ago.
Mooch, it is so funny.
Isn't that true?
Check this out. When Hellblade first came out, all right, when Hellblade first came out, people were praising this game. This game won awards. People were
not
saying,
for the Melee,
but for the game.
It was the sound and the way that they worked that that mental health issue into the main character, and the way that they took a small group and they made it look so amazing. It looked like a AAA game.
You're cherry picking.
I'm not cherry picking. That's what made it so great.
When you talk over me, it seems like you just want to drown out what I say.
Well, you're saying Melee.
Yeah, no, I'm actually making a different point here. When Hellblade first came out, when it first came out, people were praising the game as a whole. Yes, they were pointing to sound. Yes, they were pointing to mental illness. But at the end of the day, they were saying, "Oh wow, what a great game this is." It's amazing what time does. Over time,
but you just had the stage and the microphone yourself, and you still didn't mention what people said about Melee. They didn't. Is my point.
Okay, who in this panel has played Bleeding Edge?
This is a personal experience when it comes to Hellblade.
Okay, I have actually played Bleeding Edge. Okay. I'm in the technical alpha.
Okay,
I can talk about it. I can't show anything.
Okay, go ahead.
Melee combat, yes, it is very melee focused, but then it's very much like Overwatch with more melee characters. Whereas, my favorite character in out of those characters isn't even a melee character. It's the character that shoots she has a chain gun, and she pretty much keeps at a distance. It's different kinds of characters. There is one character, Damon, that is just a melee theme, but that's not everyone. That's not every character. If you think it's essentially they are trying to go after that Overwatch audience. It's nothing like how their old games are, which is fine. It's different. It's a different kind of game.
Fine.
If you are really into what Hellblade, but Ninja Theory has done in the past, you're not. That's not what this is.
Right. It's not.
The next game probably would be that, but this isn't. This is something different.
I gotta say this much too. For all those that are thinking that maybe Bleeding Edge maybe will hit that Overwatch itch and maybe get some of those folks. I mean, today it was released that Overwatch 2 is coming out next year. Yeah, I mean,
they didn't say next year. They didn't give a release.
But I mean, it already nips that in the bud. That audience isn't going to go anywhere. It's just I don't think myself personally. I think this is a great filler. And I got news for you. If I was to buy a company and they told me they had this on their shelf, I'd be like, let's do it. Let's put that out there. Xbot.
I didn't get accepted.
Oh, that sucks. They honestly, I'll be honest with you, they could use you.
You said this family wins, right?
Yeah.
Where was the winning there?
You still got better winnings than that. I got news for you. Whatever. Oh snap! Just won. I take what she won over that.
She enters a lot of those contests and stuff, so that's why we have that ratio right there. But it's gonna be interesting. I want to see what is going down with XO. Because E3 is right around.
Got better winnings than that. So I got this. Whatever
expectations to anything. I am gonna watch the show as a gamer, see how they present things, see what they present, and see if it's an entertaining show for me. But
absolutely,
at some point in time, they have to show why this is a once a year show.
I hope they do.
Xbox.
I think it's going to be another Inside Xbox, but that's fine. I agree with you, Xbox. I mean, Nick, are you playing this game? Forte, are you guys? Is anybody besides Slow-Mo playing Bleeding Edge in the alpha?
Nope. Believe it or not, Microsoft will Crackdown 3, but they won't say Bleeding Edge alpha. So,
Enrique, are you playing Bleeding Edge?
Oh man, I didn't get it. And Slow-Mo's the only one.
Okay, so Slow-Mo. I mean, just. Listen, I know everybody loves to light a candle and love everything. You're on CrossFire. Speak your mind. Is Bleeding Edge a game next year you're gonna put like dedicated time to?
I think I will initially. Like I've done probably about 2 videos on my YouTube channel about it. Initially when I first started playing, I was like, you know what, I like doing. I like testing things out. I like being a beta tester. I just like trying new and different things. So I was going to do it regardless. But initially, I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this when it launches because I just didn't like. It was too slow. It was too slow paced. I thought the maps were way too big and the characters moved too slowly for me to really be interested in it. I gave them some feedback, and I think I'm in their Discord too. They engage with people about the game and speak to the people who are in the alpha. I gave them my feedback, and I noticed the difference after a while. They now allow you to kind of go into the dojo and learn how to play those characters. It's gotten a little bit faster. I've learned how to play with some of those characters a little bit better. It's not like a Overwatch clone or anything. It plays differently than Overwatch, but the format of you have these characters that have different kind of classes, like the healer, the DPS, the tank. It has that same kind of format and PvP focus. And I played Overwatch for a little bit before I got tired of it, and I can see myself playing this. Like I've in the later times of me playing the alpha, I've been enjoying myself. Once I started to learn how the characters work and started actually finding people who would speak to you and actually do some actual game planning,
working together as a team.
Work as a team. Then it was like, okay,
I could buy
is
that.
a little bit fun. But again, I will say this: if you're not the kind of person, if you don't like those kind of games, if you don't like a Rainbow Six Siege where you can't just pick it up and just play. You're going to have to learn how to use a character, figure out what works and what doesn't work with them. Then you're probably not going to like it. Okay. But for me, I enjoy playing the game. I did miss yesterday's stream because it's like Thursday nights is on a weekly basis is when you can play with other people. But at any point in time, I can just load it up, go into the dojo, and now they got the bots, which are like different characters that you can actually fight against. So you can kind of learn how to play these characters when you're not actually going up against other people in matches. So it's all right. It's an all right game. It's just not going to be. It's not the typical Ninja Theory fare. So there are people who are going to be turned off because it's not what they want from Ninja Theory. And then there's also, it's just not the kind of game that everyone's going to be into. But I think they understand that too. I think they know that. It's going to target a certain demographic.
So if it's not, here's what I'm hearing from you, okay? And I'm okay with the fact that it's not the typical Ninja Theory game. I'm okay with that. But the one thing I'm not liking from what you're saying is I thought that this would have its own niche, if you will, in the Rainbow Six world, in the Overwatch world.
Rainbow Six.
Well, no, no. The way I'm saying, like, that's the dedicated player. Are they going to be able to have a dedicated audience like that? Because that's what they need for this game.
I can see it doing it because it's different enough from those kind of games that. Yeah, I can see people saying, you know what, I did like Siege, and I did like Overwatch, and I did like other games like this, but I like this one better. Now, there is a chance that it could be bad, like Lawbreakers bad.
I was just going to ask you, do you think it could, because Lawbreakers mechanically was a fantastic game. But
right. But I think Lawbreakers had partially a problem with the guy Cliffy B in his face all over everything and people not liking him, and then other partially is that what you're gonna have to deal with is that people having this association with it and saying, oh, it's just a clone of that, therefore I don't like that, or if I do like that, I'll just play that game. I'm not going to play your game. So they're going to have to find a way to be able to market this game and show it to people and let them understand, oh, that is a little bit different. That doesn't, because look, you guys remember Battleborn? Battleborn got called an Overwatch clone. It didn't even play like Overwatch. Still considered Overwatch clone. Completely super duper bomb. And it's just like that ain't even that kind of game. It's just like the same art direction, but people just had this association that was like, you should try and be like Blizzard.
Yeah.
and it was a wrap. So I think they're going to have to find a way to market this. It doesn't help that I think the character models are hideous. Like
That really
maybe
doesn't
like
help,
two
though,
character models that
Slow-mo.
look like something that, okay, but most of them are
How
just
are the
like,
mechanics?
who drew this?
Are the mechanics decent?
The mechanics are great.
Okay.
Like, it plays well, and for a beta, it has very few bugs. I'm always shocked about that. I can get into matches very fast, and very rarely have I had anything like a game crash. Matter of fact, I've never had a game crash on me mid game. I've never had that issue. I've only had like some small bugs.
I'm definitely gonna try it out.
It's a very stable game. It's just, like I said, it's not gonna be for everyone, but I do recommend. Hey, it's in Game Pass. Give it a shot.
Oh, there it is. It's in Game Pass.
But look, hey, that's always going to be a benefit to Game Pass, and that's something that I'm pretty sure Cliffy B with Lawbreakers wish he had.
Yes,
he
does.
People would just give it a shot.
Yes, he
does. Maybe he would have had more than 13 people playing it, concurrently at one point.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, it's well past 9 o'clock. I've kept you guys here. We even lost our good friend Pred goes, I got to go. Gaming, I got to go. We got to go to work. Listen, I want to give these guys an opportunity to plug their channels and their Twitter, their YouTube. It's been a fantastic show tonight. I got to tell you something. I was excited about tonight, but tonight it even got better as it went on. I'm going to try and go in reverse order here. I don't remember exactly how I started it, but we'll go. Nick, I want to say thanks for being here, and I apologize. Last time you were on a week or two ago, I went late like this, and you had to leave beforehand. Nick, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and what you're up. I don't know if you could talk about it, but you said you had some big news coming up. Is it something you can reveal tonight, or we still have to wait a bit?
Yeah, there'll be an announcement coming Sunday. We'll say this Sunday coming up. If you want to keep up with me, you can follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. I also have a YouTube channel, which I'm going to be kicking into gear again after being somewhat inactive for the past little while again, which is also Undead3XVI. So you can find me on all of those and in other projects as well.
Awesome.
Nick, the realm calls you.
That's awesome, buddy. Watch it since he's there. Enrique, thanks for being here tonight as well from BRAP. Listen, you did a great show today. You do a lot of impromptu BRAP rants. I love listening to them. I love when you're on the show, buddy. Let people know where they can find you, please.
Great panel tonight, by the way, and nice that we could do a cross BRAP podcast.
It was great.
Yeah, no, it was great. You can find us on YouTube, Radio Arcade Podcast. Myself, Slow-Mo Backslap, Gaming Forte, Eric Jackson, and B Money. We go live every Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Awesome, Enrique. Thank you. I think your mic was just popping in and out a bit, so I'm not sure what happened there. But
there's only one bot on this show.
That's right. He's like, but that's right. What Enrique was saying basically is it's Wednesdays, 9 o'clock on his channel. You can see his information is up on the screen right now. Please do check out Enrique and the BRAP podcast. It's fantastic. Enrique, thanks for being here tonight. And then I've got Slow-Mo Backslap, who Slow-Mo, I love having Slow-Mo on, and it's always funny when I throw that volleyball up in the air for topic of discussion, I'm always hoping that Slow-Mo's on my team before he comes down and smacks the ball. Slow-Mo, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Let people know where they can find you.
Hey, as Enrique half said, because half of it was bodied out, you can find me on the BRAP podcast. That is at Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Easterns. You can also find me on Scumcast. Unfortunately, Scumcast will not be on this Saturday. Luca's out of town, but it's hosted by the Ash and Luca on her channel, and it's usually somewhere in like 4 or 5, 6 p.m. Easterns on Saturdays. And you can also find me on my own YouTube channel. I do a lot of videos about games that are like not being talked about, games that are from smaller developers that have a lot of potential, as well as just talk about whatever games that I'm currently playing and whatever off the wall topic that I may come up with. So check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Slow-Mo, so much. I appreciate you being here tonight. And then I've got one of my usual suspects here, Nautical Gaming Forte. Guys, if you're not following Forte on Twitter, you guys are missing out, because Forte's doing videos sometimes up to twice a day. And Forte, yesterday, you did not disappoint, just like you never do. Forte, let everybody know where they can find you, buddy, and thanks for being here tonight. Forte! That's the other thing about Forte. Forte sometimes just mysteriously disappears. But check out his information is on the screen by the magic of @JMatrix76. So thank you for that, Jay. Guys, check out Forte. He'll be back with us next week. And then I've got my great friend Xbot448, who the Mooch was speaking over through at least one of his major segments tonight, and we'll work on that for next week. Xbot, let everybody know where they can find you. I know you got a huge, huge show tomorrow.
Yeah, brother, and it's all good, man. We have an extended history. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. That's definitely what makes this show.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely, man. Friends don't agree all the time. That's all that needs to be said there. But yes, this is the start of the gaming weekend, which will go strong into tomorrow night with the next podcast. Me, K Mega, Predator, the entire crew is going to be there. We are talking Overwatch 2. We are talking Diablo 4. We are talking a pro PlayStation website taking jabs at Game Pass. It's going to be a great show. Definitely tune in on my YouTube channel, Xbot448. And as usual, it is great to be here every Friday, chopping it up with the crew here, CrossFire.
Awesome, Xbot. Thank you. Just take a couple seconds here real quick. Crap Gamer will be back next week. Crap took like a month off. And good. Listen, I got to be honest with you. You guys don't realize this. It's a lot of work doing these podcasts. Crap's been going, I'm even going to say, I think he's been doing it since 2013. He's like, Mooch, he hasn't done Xbox Nation. We haven't done MNC. And he's like, if you don't mind, I'm taking a bit of a sabbatical from CrossFire. But everything comes back. He'll have Xbox Nation. We are having MNC. And I want to say a special shout out real quick to Dom, who says, Mooch, will the time change affect your time on MNC? Yes, we're going to go with whatever time. We are going at 11:30 Eastern time. So do remember, this is change your clocks back on Saturday night. So yes, so that means what would normally have been 12:30 will be 11:30, guys. And we will be changing with the new time, of course. So do keep that in mind. And shout out again to Z Blackrider, says, I have an announcement, Mooch. Scarlet is 50% more powerful than PS5. Boom. Z Blackrider, I need to see some documents on that. Nonetheless, thank you so much, guys. Check out @JMatrix76. He's had his information up on the screen this whole time. Jay makes a lot of this happen. Jay's a fantastic guy. He's teaching and helping folks do things that you're watching on screen right now. All you got to do is contact him with all those great, easy ways to get a hold of him right there on the screen. We'll do this again next week, guys. 7 p.m. Eastern time, just like usual. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Game on. Peace out.
Battletoads!